A negative afternoon shaping up here ahead of the Fed coming tomorrow at this time. We will get, looks like a 75 basis point increase for interest rates in the U.S. I just double checked, 75% still in favor of that 75 basis point hike versus 25 on the 100 basis point hike. So that's a lay of the land as we stand right now. 1.9 for the NASDAQ leading, 1% for the S&P, about half for the Dow, faring a little bit better. Pretty ugly afternoon for cryptocurrencies. ETH down 9.5%, 5.6 right now for Bitcoin. Kraken, apparently the latest cryptocurrency exchange to be looked into for federal investigators anyways, looking into Kraken for some questionable trades, I guess is the way they're calling it, on what they were trading. So they join a long list. I'll show you Coinbase here in a second, pretty ugly at day lows as well. So more negativity for the crypto market overall, NFT markets as well. There's 3M, there's GE. We talked about both in the pre-market, positive earnings and a positive forecast for 3M. They're also spinning off a portion of their business that they're going to maintain 9%. There's a few here that are standing out as positive, but otherwise a lot of red to contend with once again this afternoon, including from the banking sector, financials all to the downside. Consumer discretionary, specifically the retail group, also leading as far as negativity is concerned after that Walmart note. If you missed it, I'm not sure what you were looking at today, but Walmart cutting their full year profit forecast. Tech shares also under pressure. FISV standing out there in earnings name, same with FFIV. I wanted to show you this. Here's Coinbase, 16.8% when that Kraken headline came across. This thing went to day lows in a hurry. You can see just the tip there, volume coming back into the downside all the way through to 56 now. Huge day under pressure after Coinbase faces its own subpoena, second subpoena, and also further investigation into some trading practices as well. So not good for these cryptocurrency related stocks, with a big move down in Bitcoin, recession fears dragging down the market as well. Lots to discuss. Obviously, as I said, it's the day before the day of. We'll get this next interest rate from the Fed. So it's been a bit of a slow grind for the overall market, even though we are down a full percent. A ton of opportunity this morning, regardless of where you were looking, where you were focused. We will take some time here and go back, have a look at a few trades that we were discussing this morning and you had as opportunities this morning, one of which Sean is here to give you a review of.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's the Trade of the Day, and it's brought to you by Day Trade the World. Check them out below by scanning that QR code. Look, today it's going to be pretty simple for me. It's going to be Amazon. And why is it going to be Amazon? Attention up here. Mr. Walmart today. Sam, going to the downside here. Look at this, man. I mean, you got a big move back down in for Walmart. They came out yesterday, guided a lot lower, talked about their forecast, what was it, 13 to 14, down to 7 or 8 on the growth. So it's not a good one, man. And Walmart, here's their warning the first time. They weren't again in here. That's their earnings miss. Big time issues here coming through for Walmart, including this double bottom at 120, or double bottom once, twice. I mean, a bunch of times there. 3 times sold. So now today comes all the way back down in. So look, I had Walmart. We had that short early at that 122 mark. But as that was happening, I was like, you know what? I'm so much more familiar with trading NASDAQ names. So let's just go over there and have a look at Amazon. Amazon at that 120 area has seen some resistance. It was climbing back to the upside. I'm just going to use a 1-minute chart here to explain what my trade ideas were for today. I mean, it was pretty simple. Here's that 118 level that we talked about on the morning show, looking to short off that 118 level. So we just kind of pick a spot there, a little bit of a bouncing area there this morning up to 118 before coming back and sort of settling around 117. So I never thought we'd really get to this 118. So our first couple shorts here, we're into 118, bring it back down into 117. So a bunch of outs, fine. We're really happy with Amazon. Then something happened with my orders, which is completely fine. But we wound up reversing into the long there, not reversing into the long, but getting out of our short on a 118 break. We actually didn't even want to do do that. We should have been getting more short, but that's fine. We'll move on from that trade. Then we eventually take some longs in and starts to make a little bit of money here on Amazon. Before we get stopped out right there, breaking through 116.50, Amazon pulls all the way down and we're just like, oh man, why can't we still be short? We're still positive on this name, but we did have some back and forth here between 10 and 10.30. It was just dancing from 117 to 118 and we were sort of uncertain of the direction. But we keep our eye on Walmart and make sure that the NASDAQ, which you're going to see right here, it's kind of continuing a slide. You're getting, wow, okay, you're getting a big move up now in the NASDAQ that I wish I was part of, standing right here, but that's a big move up. So I have AMD long. Hopefully that continues to work. But the point is, the NASDAQ was starting to fade out. We started the day only down 0.4, and on live on the show, I was like, hey, this feels like a southbound day, maybe 1.5% to 2%. You could bookmark me on that one. Go find that clip back there about 8:45. So we're right on that. But here's the short that we're really talking about. We hit this 4 times. Like, again, look, the kind of the bar coding here between 117 and 118, it kind of does the same thing here between 117 and 116. But look at these shorts, short, and we're getting out. Like, the reason why we're getting out is it's not making that tank move, but we're always trying to hold on to a piece in case it goes down. So here's the short off view up, and then look, all the way down. So where do we start getting out? Obviously, once again, at that very bottom of like 116 or 115.80. Then it hits that, comes back up. Could have reloaded, didn't. Then the move comes back down in, breaks 116. We get lower than 116. Now we get 115.50. And just as I came here, the plan of action, which is why I marked this down, was like this 114.80 bottom that we had already seen in the pre-market. And I mean, I can't control this move. I mean, the NASDAQ right now going back up to the upside here, as you can see, oil dropping, NASDAQ going up. So it's nice to see that relationship maybe back. But there it is right here. This move down, we just bounced off 114.80, basically what it looks like to the penny. So we are going to stand here and miss that opportunity, but that's fine. We still have a piece left. It's breaking through the 50 period. It's Amazon short. We're still in it. It's your trade of the day for a few reasons, because first way, retail. Look at other names. That's what Neil and I, Brendan, we always talk about that. Prad, Luca, everybody on the show. Look to see sectors that are moving around. Then go over, find some key levels like we did here at 118 and then again at 117. Hit the trades, right? And then just trade you. Some people will scalp in and out. That's me. Others will hold for some of these lines. So that's why we draw them there. Even this line right here at 115.50 kind of held here, had some back and forth right in there. So that again is a decent out. So we're bouncing off that right now, pulling back down. It looks like Amazon does want to test the low of the day on this. What is happening on this NASDAQ move back down here? So I'm going to get back to my desk, but it's your trade of the day and it's brought to you by Day Trade the World.
Yeah, crazy afternoon. Lots of volatility here. There's no real significant headlines coming across, but the market, big move up and right back down. This one as well, huge flush for QGen. You might have heard the guys in the midday mention this one was halted, news pending. This is a old classic midday earnings release for QGen here, reporting actually better than expected results, but big flush off the open. It actually opened at 49. Straight back through 48 there. No liquidity, no volume involved in that one, but why not release your earnings at 2 o'clock in the afternoon just for fun? Lots to talk about, obviously, this afternoon ahead of what is to come tomorrow. As I mentioned, I was going to show the CME tool here to start things off. We'll throw that up. There it is, 75 still. It's hard to see, but trust me, 75 to 24.9. on the 75 basis point versus 100 to come tomorrow. So this time tomorrow, we'll be discussing that most likely 75 basis point hike. But I think it's going to be more about what is to follow that at 2:30 when Jerome Powell takes to the microphone, starts answering some questions, and the tone of which he's answering those questions. How hard, how hawkish of a stance will they take going forward here? After today, I mean, a bit of a question mark, but there are some signs, guys, pointing back to the downside.
We were just talking about a few different things here.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, that was a head fake on the market, man. Like, it looked like it's like, oh, look at the market bouncing, and then right back to the lows on Amazon. I'm in this PGY, by the way. That's like that crazy Israeli AI stock. That's what the strongest stock in the market here today with the market overall weak. But wow, I mean, you've had so much to look at. It's been absolutely insane, starting with retail and Walmart. And oddly enough, Walmart might have been one of the more boring names today. Like it went mostly sideways, but there's been small caps running. You've had Sega and all those other. Sundial's now dying.
Can you look at Sundial?
Sundial is a piece of.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to hit that sign. So keep going. Keep going.
No, I mean, like, everything started with Walmart, and it's like everything else is moving and having ridiculous moves. Whether it's Sundial, whether it's Zila, whether it's Sega, GovX, whether it's PGY, the small cap. Maybe you're looking at Amazon, which was the trade of the day there. Tesla has put in power moves. Like, look what happened to Tesla when it finally broke that 780 level right at midday. Like, boom. You know, Randy couldn't hold it up anymore, and then boom, right down to 770.
Come on, Randy.
So down 4% here. And throughout this entire time, like, it's Walmart, man. Like, Walmart that started everything, and look at it. It was down 10%. It's still within the same pocket range that it had at 9:45.
Yo.
What?
I gotta say a shout out to Carly here on the chat. Where's Neil? Found him. I found him.
Where am I?
Someone said, "Where is Neil?" I found him. So, thank God for that one. I was wondering where you were as well, but shout out to Carly there. And maybe some of us are doing a little bit of this today because Sundial. The minute that you're gonna reverse split, I'm just going to, I don't even really, to me it doesn't really matter the name that, whether or not it be GE, we've seen what happened on that split, to reverse to the other side as well. They went up. What a reverse split means is you go the other way. So Sundial yesterday was what, a 20-cent stock? Well, I guess it was more than that. It was 70, how much?
It closed at about 30 cents.
30 cents, okay, so it did go up to $3 today. And anyways, this is the Sundial short here that we have on. We shorted this easy 285 in the morning on that pop. Like, it had no business going up in the first place there. And then this is the big trade for me, really. Well, they're the same shares, so it doesn't really matter. It's just we were getting out down here at that bottom of the day of 270. Then all of a sudden, we had this in from the break of these pre-market levels. So I wanted to get more short. And then now look what's happening to Sundial. It's completely just throwing up all over itself, but we ain't doing that because we smoking right now on the downside for Sundial. We're here taking, not only do we have a $2 winner on Amazon, but this is actually, I'm more profit per share, obviously, on Sundial than I am on Amazon, just taking these out every level on the way down. Like, when you have a $3 name and you're not afraid of any upside in this name, you can really put on some shares. So it's a nice move to the downside. My number one name profit-wise today is easily Sundial, and I have never traded this name in my life. Okay, so it's a that's probably true. That's a very, very easy name to short whenever you get that kind of a reverse split. I mean, Sundial has absolutely driven their stock into the ground. I mean, as has every single marijuana company. And I hate to say it, because I am a shareholder, I've lost way more money on this than I would have loved to admit. But just if you go back here, even just Sundial was 358. This is split adjusted, of course, here on eSignal, but it was just 358. Now you're down to 229 in 4 days. Just talk about shareholder erosion rate there, let alone what we were just at $9 back in March, and you're at 2.25 now. So anyways, that's the Sundial story. You all know it. If you're trading Sundial or holding Sundial, I don't, as a grower, I'm not sure where the money's going to be for marijuana names, cannabis names. I liked multi-state operators. We talked about that with TrueLeave. And then I was just as surprised as you, because I don't hold this anymore as everybody out there. But Grow Generation Brands is also Grow Generation, that's what it is. Yeah, they're down to $5 or $6. So a lot of these marijuana names just keep on getting clapped every single day. And I think I'm just going to be on this short now that Sundial is above $1. I personally don't. This is why I say Neil normally trades it, and he did today. But it's I don't normally trade names that are sub-$1. And Sundial, just the fact that it was Christmas today and opened up at $3, really should have been, you should have put the whole ounce on there, if you know what I'm saying. Just put it all on there, go for it, walk around the street and smoke your life away, because there goes Sundial right down to the downside. What a disgusting move, man. We're still short at 270 right now, so 40 cents in the money. That's 20%. It's such a bad day for Sundial shareholders today. It sucks.
And it would have actually, at one point, Zila was looking so much worse than Sundial. But oddly enough, Zila, which is the other split, Zila was 20 to 1 or 1 to 20 for their reverse split. But yeah, they actually caught a bid. Zila at 165, and it's actually back to the upside. So I never got into this one. I was kind of looking for, I think I said 220 in the morning I wanted. Never really came in. It tried to pop through $2, and let's see what happens. Maybe it does get to this lower high at $1.85, and we can think about the short in Zila. But just another name, and these get reverse split for a reason, as we said, and it's never going to be a good sign when that does happen. So watch out for Zila. I'm watching Amazon continue to press toward that low of the day. We do have some positions on, but I guess we're going to talk about most of them given the rundown.
I was just going to say, yo, shout out because he's a member. Yo, shout out to John Lupo. How do you get positions going into 2 p.m.? I don't know exactly what that means, but we just get them the same way we always get them. So we just put them on. And
enter.
We are, Neil and I sit here and basically trade. Well, we don't all the time, but when we're sitting here, we're trading. So there are times that we'll have positions on heading into the closing show. So if that's what you meant, yeah, some of these positions, none of them that I've put on are new. I mean, these are all old ones. I will put on new positions. Right now, we're just simply running through some of the board there. And on that note, we did talk about Walmart earnings today. There's the short that I liked at 122. It actually printed fine all the way down for basically breaking 120 and holding it though, like coming down, testing that 120, you get to 119.02 in the pre-market, so it's not like 120 was super key, but just from a psychological level, Walmart held that 120. So it's been so beat down, this name, that I'm not sure if people want to short this or long this heading into the close. But for right now, it's hovering above VWAP, which is a good sign. What volume weighted average price generally tells you is when you're below there, that's when hedge funds and all that will tend to buy up. So it's actually the other way around. You'll sort of gravitate up to VWAP because when they close, they want to tell other clients that, hey, we're long Walmart today down here at 120.50. Meanwhile, the volume weighted average price is 121. So, we've done better for our clients than they could have done for themselves. And then that's kind of the reason why you're looking at volume weighted average price. But just for Walmart today, I believe it's going to be a short the rest of the day, and I would play off this 123. But that's the reason why, wow, right now, Neil, this Amazon trade is falling. Really just been a hero one.
The question is where
man.
the bottom is going to be on Amazon this afternoon. If we retake the lows, I got some wicks on this chart. I'll clean those up in a bit. But if we retake the lows on the overall market, Amazon's on its lows right now. You start going back to the 18th, last week on Monday, 113 maybe in play if it's an absolute flush. So you got to watch out for this. And I was talking to some of the guys because a lot of traders, prop traders especially, will do things like rebate trading or spread trading, and they've been trading that 1 EM that they're getting, that one medical that they're buying. Yeah, so no surprise that is actually going down too, because retail under pressure, Amazon in particular under pressure today. So the company they're acquiring falling, even though it's a cash deal, it's still falling anyway. So you got to watch out for these. And look, I'm going to get to this stock because it's not going to be on the rundown. I'm in this PGY, and it is unbelievably impressive. It really felt like I was patient enough to wait for it to get to 20 before trying the short twice, once with a stop out there, and then it made another fresh high. It broke to 21.5 and then rejected that move, so I was able to get the short actually above 20. And now it's just, again, making higher lows. It's just impressive, up 100%, but that doesn't tell you the real story for PGY. This was a couple of bucks, the recent SPAC, and now it's 10x in just a matter of 1 week. So be careful, the spread is pretty large on this. I know the guys in the midday show were talking about it. If it gets through the high, I'm always stopping out. There's no way I want to hold this one and have it ruin the day.
All right, just new trade alert before we go over to Brendan quickly here. We are long again AMD. Look, we've already done this twice. It's off the sticky note. We've done this trade already once. We're going to do it again right now, hopefully, on AMD. Here's the first take on AMD. Long 85.25 on the midday show. We kept telling Brad, yo, this is the trade. This is the trade. He took it as well. There it is, 85.20. First out's 40. Next out's 50. Next out 90. Next out 85. And then we hold 20%. That 20% has come back in, so that's no good. good. So we get out of 80% of it for a beautiful winner there on that name. So we'll go with good idea for AMD off the sticky note. But guess what? We are right at that 85 level right now. So this is one that's held before, but right now it's starting to crack lower. There's really nothing about 85 that's super special. I mean, this is the daily chart. If and when I can find my 20-minute, I'll bring it to you. But I just want to say it's just a psychological level of 85. We hit it yesterday, so maybe that's probably why I wrote this down, because there's yesterday's 85 on the knot. It goes to 85.15 and then rips upside. So today we do the same thing. Here's the 2-day 1 minute, right? So you're right back at this level. We're going to give it a little below 85 to test this level, but yeah, right now we do load it back up. So Mr. John Lupo, if you're wondering, hey, where are the new trades at? Well, here's a new trade right now. Let's see if it can work. We are long. We just got 09s, I think we got. What did we get there? Yeah, we got 08s. So we got 08s, 85.08. It's just an average price now. It shows me long at 11, but that's the price. So whatever, we'll take it. 85.11. Hopefully some upside coming in AMD. Chip bill, everything be damned. The NASDAQ. And again, like we talked about this. I talked about this. If Liz is watching, man, go find that clip at 9 o'clock when I said, or 8:45, when I said, this market feels weak today heading into these earnings. There's no reason for traders to sit in there and buy anything really today. So I feel like all of that has basically come true. The oil down, NASDAQ down 2%, ES down 1.18%. So yeah, floodgates not necessarily opening up, but definitely people nervous coming out with big report tonight. Multiple names. I mean, we have Google, we have Amazon. There's lots of names coming. I think it's Softy, right? We have that list.
Microsoft.
When we have that, maybe we can throw it up, maybe even almost ASAP when we go back to Brendan. But anyways, that's what I'm talking about. AMD long right now. Let's see if it holds that 85.
Yeah, and just a quick look. I'm actually in Mike. We can go over some of the trades. I don't see the chips on there, so it's worth it. The only reason I'm not reloading on Micron is because Micron is actually not at its low of the day. It's shown relative strength throughout this entire day. At one point when the market was tanking, Micron was still in positive territory, tried to hold on for a while. And then we said in the morning show, we like this support level right here. You had this 59.60 area for the last couple of days that it held up, including the pre-market as well. So, and then you go all the way back into the 15th when it bounced off of this price level. If it does get down to the low, the market's probably already taken out bottom. So relative strength, that's why I like this Micron. And then the other side of it is, we've been saying this for the week, but the chip bill, it's going to be more of a positive for Micron in Intel than it is for the AMDs and NVIDIAs of the world, because it's more about them actually getting money in subsidies directly. So I like Micron, but it's not at a reload point for me. But if it gets back up to 60s, I should be taking it out. That's the best fill we're able to get all morning. Was up around like 30s and 40s. I didn't take anything when the stock was up in those 60s. It doesn't feel like we're going to get back to those highs, but if I see them, this time I take them.
All right, market pushing back to lows. That AYLA we were talking about this morning, pushing to day highs. There's also this one, CMRA. This is another PGY, if you will. If I show you the daily chart, might make more sense. Recent DSPAC, so 9 million shares on the float of CMRA. Trying to get going as well. It seems like all you need to be is a former SPAC that has less than 10 million shares these days. A couple things of note here. We're going to talk about Amazon there. This was the headline this morning. They're going to add a primary listing essentially in Hong Kong. Obviously already listed there, but would become a primary listing. If you missed it on the retailers as well, all down on profit warning from Walmart, including Amazon. Amazon also comes out and says they're going to raise their Prime memberships in Europe 43%, which was a bit of a surprise, I think, as well. Alibaba was this headline, as I mentioned, going to add that primary listing to in Hong Kong in addition to their current one. An interesting look here for Alibaba, guys, holding up a little bit better than most.
Yeah, the thing about Baba is I actually did have, it is still up on the day, but that's because it gapped up. I did like a long, I did like a long down around 102.5, and that 102 to 103 channel, that's what we're talking about in the morning. And it got there, but the market was just flushing at that point. The short I liked was at 107. You eventually tried to hold, it got a little bounce, was able to make some money there, and then you're gonna get the reload and it's just gonna lose. And it turned into a short off the level that I liked. So in that channel, 02 to 03, that halfway point of 102.5 ends up being resistance. So You know, I call that a bit of a swing and the miss because sometimes you got to be accepting of where the market is going. At the point at which I stopped out of Alibaba, the only other long since then was just Micron, and then everything else was just holding onto your shorts or finding short trading opportunities. And Baba was probably one of them off of that same price area. So I'd say a bit of a swing and a miss on Alibaba. I don't know if there's much of a trade left. If it takes out the bottom, maybe you see 100 even, but even that, I don't know, after already, like it broke it once. It broke this yesterday, and it didn't really put up much of a fight at $100. I'm not really sure how much that would matter if we saw that again today. And it does feel like we might see that again if we break these lows. It's so close to it now, and the market is just teetering. Like the NASDAQ, worth saying, I don't know if this got mentioned, the NASDAQ's 100 points away from that 12,000 number that we kept talking about. The one that we had run away from, and now all of a sudden we have an afternoon trade where we could see that the day before the rate hike comes. So yeah, I mean, to say that the market has been weak is a bit of an understatement. 2%, and look, you might see a bit more.
I'm very, very surprised, but I do like the fact that I have Luca beside us now. I mean, I hope he takes this as a permanent seat here because he's just chilling out behind here, and I'm. He's waiting. Oh, he's waiting for Geo. He's waiting for GOV. Okay, he's waiting for that trade on GOVX. Yeah, what are we talking about? Baba. Yeah, so I had Baba on the sticky note today. I thought it would also hold. I don't have any trades. Like, I put on the sticky note that we wanted to see a 103, but that actually 103 was the only level that really held there on the way down. And it's not, I don't have it, so it's not like, oh my God, we had 103. But this is what, I'll show you the sticky note right now because honestly, it's been pretty good again, but it doesn't matter. I just want to tell you here that, you know, when you're talking about this, like looking to get on the primary Hong Kong, exchange should be, exchange should hold 103, possible break long 106, right? Okay, so now that you have those ideas, remember the sticky note is trade ideas and like levels that I'm going to be looking at for, you know, for a trade. But as you could see right now, Alibaba here on the 1 minute chart, if we're going to look at today quickly, it never even got going. I mean, the market is right here, opening up at 105. The highest ever went was 105.20. So here's that 106, even higher actually. We were hoping for a 106 break, which is all the way up here. So that never came into play. So after that, we maybe should have been thinking, okay, maybe it is a short, right? Maybe there is a move to come down in for Alibaba, right? But unfortunately, there's the 103 right here where we started to dance around. And if I can zoom in a little bit, as the market was coming down here into 103, where is it right here? This is 103.15. You get a little bit of a bounce up to 103.60. And I remember when that was happening, we were like, oh man, maybe we missed it. Maybe we should have trusted ourselves. But no, the market just kept on falling down. So, you know, even though it was on the sticky note as a long, you could see it's turned red now. It didn't hold 103. If it had, then I probably would have punched long through like 104. Right, and then used 103 as the base, but it never held, it never even came back up, and you can see what Alibaba's doing now, testing that 100 bottom probably a little bit later, but I think that that's the long. You know, testing some of these like ultimate bottoms, like that's where you want to be there. It's the same reason why we're staring AMD right now. Like AMD, we're long, and we're only out of the money right now 7 cents, but you could see here, it is down to 85 again, so we wait for that ultimate price of 85. That way, if it dips down below, at least we can say we have the price that we like, and if it goes against us, which my out's going to be a little lower than this, so into the 80s. So, you know, at least we're sitting here with a trade that we have that we don't mind at that level, right? Alibaba just didn't have that feeling today, so I think it was pretty easy to get out of the way. So Alibaba on a weekday, hey man, that's cracking through 100. I don't know. I don't really trust any of these names until they show us solid earnings. And then Tesla did. Remember Tesla? If anybody doesn't forget Tesla, I hope you don't. This was a name that had great earnings, and they were up, and they were literally up and away the last couple of days, right? Big time moves up to 840. This is only 2 days ago, right? We sold into strength for Tesla, not believing. What's up, Tesla marketing team? I just see the guy right here, Randy. We sold, and it's not that I'm bearish on Tesla. It's just, it was just at 850. It's at 770 in 2 days, right? So I sold some at 820, and I even tweeted it out. And I said, selling 20% of my Tesla here to raise capital. And then I told you the reason why we're raising capital. It's for today. So if we see Google or Microsoft, any names that we're already in, take more dives, then we can reassess those positions at that time. So I just feel like you got to watch out. Look, investing is a long-term game. And I do believe that Tesla is always going to come out on top. They have the best production. Those gigafactories are not going to be, no one's going to be able to repeat the performance of those factories. I mean, not anytime soon, right? The problem is valuations right now. You have inflation running rampant, and the COVID problem is still not even fixed. So I don't know. I question production, and we'll just wait to see what happens here with Tesla. But I feel like it was a good move putting about 10% back into my pocket here on that Tesla trade.
Now, watch out for lows of the day. The NASDAQ just took out the low. The ES and the S&P 500 on the low of the day. I'm about to get the reload. I mean, Micron just turned red after breaking 60 finally. So my entries are down. Looking for these 70 to 75 area, which is about to come into play. This will be, I'm not saying it's the only long I'll have, but it's the only long I'm really looking at right now. I'm not really trying to bottom pick anything but this because of its relative strength. If there is something, it might be like a GE that we can look at because they reported earnings. They look pretty strong. This is actually still holding above VWAP on my 15-minute there and well above that 70 where it was breaking out from. But wow, another fresh low in the overall market. So it's just been one of those. It's been one of those kinds of days. That PGY, I'm trailing it. So my trail is now down to 1950, so I actually can't lose on the last of this unless I cancel my stop order. Brendan?
Yeah, new lows for the market, new lows for, well, not yet, but I was going to say Shopify on the way, still 15 and change percent. I want to direct your attention over here. Look at the volume behind this move today. Just absolutely massive on the daily chart. Our chart's not split adjusted, so you can get a sense of what has happened as far as volume is concerned since the split here. This is easily by far, in fact, the highest volume day to the downside on this note from the Wall Street Journal this morning. Yeah, about 10% of its global workforce being laid off for Shop. Still going.
Yeah, look, I mean, that was one where I was just kind of lucky to see that news. And then I've seen the way Microsoft, and this is what I mean about, and I actually tweeted this out, like, you never know what day, and I did like a little rock thing here too. Follow me at Trader TV Sean. We actually have a poll up right now that I want people to vote on as well. Here it is. Like, I says, wow, this is at 32.80 now, Shop. You never know what'll be your biggest trade until you sit down, right? So here it is right here on Shopify. Like, we hit this almost right away when we hear that news. It was a little bit late. I mean, I read it. I looked at some levels. It actually was bouncing around a little bit. But there's the trade right here for you in real time. We take that trade at 34.30, and it absolutely collapses. And we take the first bid at 34. So, you know, we take 80 cents on the first bid. Then the next bid we take at 33.50. So that's, you know, $1.30. And then it just continues until I saw my friend Shakib say, uh-oh, it's starting to turn back up. And he wasn't wrong. He was right. It was turning back up. So it broke through VWAP for the very first time. So when you have these big kind of moves down, I feel like I never know where the bottom is. And if you guys do, then that'd be fantastic. Let me know. I mean, I did buy this little 8-ball from like an Amazon dollar store or something like that. So, you know, hold on a second. Let me ask it right now.
Ask it if the ES holds the bottom, though.
No, I'm just going to ask about Shopify first, and then we'll do the ES. Will Shopify make a new low today? Because you know what? Sometimes you got to figure out what's going on with this. Very doubtful, Neil.
Oh,
so,
really?
so there you go.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. And I don't know if it's going to make a new low either, $30.52. But the point that I was getting at here was we don't know. So when that broke back above VWAP for the first time, I mean, it tested a little bit there, but you didn't have the 50 period. This was consolidating right there. So we do get out, and I'm actually okay with it. It does go back down and make that bottom. Just for a note, just for everybody out there, the order that I had was $30.40, like $30.40. So I wouldn't have even got filled on that yet. So I probably would still be short, but there's Shopify. If it was a little bit better on the search, we probably would have done this for the trade of the day. But there it is right now, Shopify all the way to the downside. And look, man, I mean, it's not like we are here in Canada, and it sucks to have another big, huge name like Shopify just be completely slapped down from $1,700 down to $300 like it is right now, considering that split.
You know what the problem is?
You tell me, because I don't know what the problem is.
Anytime you're like Canada's tech company,
yeah, and
I'm talking like just you get that recognition. So whether it's Nortel, whether it's
Research
RIM,
in Motion, yeah.
Whether it's now Shopify, it's like you get to that point where you get that status, and it's like the kiss of death.
It seems
because it's not just, it doesn't end up bad for the shareholders, but like that peak is just, it ends up being disgusting. Now look, when news like that comes, I missed the move, and I was sitting there talking about something else. I see, and next thing I know, Sean's already in the money at $1.50. I went over and got Etsy, and okay, fine. Etsy ended up having a flush. However, and this is all in hindsight, The name that I should have immediately flipped to was Affirm. And look, I like Affirm. Affirm was on a key level in front of $25. Obviously, any pressure on retail, any pressure on online on the online space for retail and payments. This is like an epicenter for them. Now, it's not the exact same business, but certainly they should be under the same pressures. And it had just as good a key level. You had one of these floors. I just didn't go there first, which is, it's odd because it's a name that I usually would flock to when looking for short. So that's kind of what I just wanted to show there. I should have been in Affirm. Affirm just broke the low of the day, by the way. Just continues to flush to the downside. Like, as the market is making fresh lows, there goes Affirm right through that bottom. I think, now, I wouldn't be terribly surprised with this name. Like, we're getting to that 50 period. It might try to catch a bid here, but if it clears this, you could see $20, especially after the Fed. If we don't make one of those Fed day bounces, like a sell the news, which would be buying, if we don't get one of those rallies like we had the last two times, then that's going to see Affirm at $20 to be sure, Brendan.
All right, volatility for sure to come tomorrow following that announcement, which will be right now. We'll be getting the speech from Fed Chair Powell. We'll be getting an indication of their plan going forward. Not only that, we'll also be trading Microsoft and Google, guys, who are set to come after market tonight. So, yeah, it'll be a little interesting tomorrow.
No. Those two won't be interesting at all.
What, earnings?
No.
Microsoft? Nah, small company.
And nothing bad happened in the online advertising space.
Nothing going on.
And yeah, there's no concerns whatsoever that if we have a recession that advertising revenues will go down. Hey, guess what? If people are buying less things, then there's less of a push to advertise for them. That's just, I mean, I guess I'm not really saying anything. I'm not saying anything that's actually that smart there. But I had one trade on Google on Alphabet this morning, and I just was really patient with it because we're looking at a lot of things for shorts off of the open. It wasn't one of them. It wasn't at a price that I was in love with, especially not without that little bit of a push to the upside at the open. But as it caught a bit of a bid here off of 105, and we'll get to that in a second, I started grinding up here. But in that strength, it was all about waiting for it to start to fail in the price range. I liked 106.50 into that pre-market and then opening range high, 107.25. But I had to see it start to turn within that price range. Maybe it turned at 106.75. It didn't. It ended up getting right to that open wick, right at the open. And then we had the curl, so I was able to get 107 short. The mistake was getting it out at 105 and then trying the long at 105. It got hollowed out that there was some size on the bid on Google at 105. So this is me going long 105.02. This is me taking 13 cents, and this is me getting stopped out, and now you're making fresh lows. So once again, one of these on a weekday, you try to defend a big size even dollar level, and then eventually when it fails that level, all it does is make fresh lows. So at some point, these are pretty good reverses. But this wasn't one that was on the top of the list for the short, but certainly I was saying to myself, it would be hard for it to break out and make fresh highs, given the news, given the fact that they hadn't reported yet. This could be one of these opportunities in Alphabet that if they do get punished tomorrow, if they do get punished this week, for the next few days this week, let's just say, you might get an opportunity next week to maybe start thinking about picking up some more there. But certainly, it's not immune, down 3% here today, outpacing the rest of the market. But there was almost no way Alphabet was going to have an update, given everything else that we saw happen today.
It's going to be their first report since the split, but the split has absolutely nothing to do with anything about the company. It just has to do with the stock price. So I'm not looking forward to this just because of the split. By the way, SNDL now 50 cents of the money. We'll go mamma mia. That was a good one to trade on there. But we did average into AMD. AMD just went into the money for us, by the way. We did take our average position. We got some at, like I said, some at 8s or 9s there, then some more right now at 94, 95, giving us this average price of 05. So right now we are long on AMD right now. Yeah, oh yeah, my wife got her nails done. She was just messaging me now. Yeah, great.
Nails done,
more money, more money, more money. Gone. Okay, let's just refresh this real quick right now. And talking about losing money and right on point here with this. I talked about this on the Midday show, and Apple or Google, basically. I have the Pixel 6. We talked about that. I am debating switching over to the 13 Pro. I know
It's
Randy.
over.
I know
It's
Randy.
over. I say stay.
I don't know what to do, but right now it's getting closer, man.
I say stay. But
Okay.
I'm biased though, because I'm an Android guy too. But.
Yeah. I don't know. And the only reason I would do it, and I see a lot of the reasons here. Here's my wife, of course. She wants me to switch. iPhone for life, privacy. I've responded to some of these here. Some people saying they never switched. They did switch here. Shock Industry switched within 2 months. Hated iOS, came back, but he did try. So, I mean, some of that is I could just use my wife's phone, I guess, for a couple of days, as if she's going to let me do that. But it's just like my kids, everybody, they're on iPads. They're all part of the environment. So that's what I'm there for. But anyways, I just want to see what the people think. So, what would you do? And again, I think the best answer here is this from, you know what? You said, at the end of the day here, Cheval, it was trade your own book, because you'll be the one using the phone. So I think that's really honestly the best. We're just putting that out just to see what people think. And I think that's the best advice.
But then to you, that means stay, no? Because
I love the phone. I love the phone. It's just
you love the Pixel, so stay.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've been Pixel for a long time. The first iPhone I got was the very first one. And I remember walking on Bloor Street home with it, and the guy told me, he said, you have 2 iPhones in there. You might not want to carry it in that bag. Yeah, exactly. And then, nowadays, the iPhone 1 or whatever it was called is probably worth whatever a paperweight is worth. But at that time, I think that phone was like $700 or $800, which was way overpriced.
You know what's hilarious? Actually, just yesterday, I was showing you that Barry Bonds card I had.
Yes.
So anyways, I was looking around where I keep some of my valuables, and I found, what's it called, the iPod.
Nano.
So the only Apple product that I've ever had, I won an iPod Nano.
Yeah, those little guys.
But remember that trading competition thing? It was a Tane. There was an old gateway, and I don't know if you really, they don't do this anymore, but there was an old gateway that had this competition if you do enough volume on it, whatever. And I won this Nano, and I still have the damn thing. I got to check to see if it works and if I have any music on it. I doubt it does. But that was fun.
It will work. It will work.
Well, I'm gonna pull it out.
You just gotta have some MP3s to download up on there.
Well, I'm assuming I have stuff on there. See what tracks I got. Maybe
you
I'll hear
have
something.
Some hot tracks, man.
And I'll be inspired for Friday if we figure something out. But I just got stopped out of Micron, man. So I'm right back to the only short the market kind of move there. And everything feels good when you're short today. But this PGY, and I'll tell you this right now, if you're long this stock, what is happening at $18? The fact that it's doing 50 million shares worth of volume when it was $2 just a few days ago, and is now failing at 20, and then holding up at $18 this well. You just feel like I'm kind of I know Luca's waiting for that GovX. I'm just sitting here staring at it how there's nothing on the bid. How is it continuously holding up there, but it will not flush into VWAP? It's impressive what's going on with this PGY. But that's what happens with these low floaters, and that's why you should always have a stop, always pay yourself. Don't trade something like this without an out to the short side. Heck, don't even trade it without an out to the long side, because as much as it might do a move like this, who knows? Maybe it has one last breakup and you're holding it long, halts to the upside, and then they don't open it like they didn't open Funware that day. And then by the time they open the stock, nobody made any money on it, because instead of a 10-minute halt, it was like an hour-long halt, which I still have never seen an explanation for why on that DWAC move, Funware got halted for an hour when DWAC was trading. It was a volatility halt, and they pulled the rug, and then by the time it came out, if you had the last long, at one point it was in the money a ton, and when they opened it in an hour, you made nothing. Don't let those things happen to you.
Sure.
What's he got?
Can you go to Lucas's screen here? Let's see. Or Luca, sorry.
I did the same thing.
Check out this short right here.
They're not going to be able to hear you.
It really did not move the whole time.
They can't hear you.
And that flushed down.
Bro, no mic. There it is. I'll just say exactly what he said. So I was short this whole time, and then it literally just flushed all the way down, and then he went like this, and he talked about going to go get an espresso and everything. So great trade there. Yeah, great trade there. And I said, once you're sitting over here with us, man, I mean, I'm telling you, it just morphs over there. So great trade by Luca.
You're not going to want to get up and move from place to place. That's the other thing.
No, once you're comfortable sitting in your
he's
spot.
He's not going to sit there in a trade like
With
GovX.
that being said, he's probably just going to close and go back over there right now. So that's good.
Well,
now he's done. The trade's done. So he's done right now. Good trade on GOVX there. It's good to look over that, right? And as the show's done, it doesn't mean that the trading's done. I mean, we like we were talking about before there, we'll sit down here here and trade all day as much as we can if there's opportunities. And I think that that's what you have to do, a trade like that GovX. I mean, just understand how the market moves, and you'll be able to do whatever the hell you want there with executions and everything like that. So we are getting ready for a guest of the day. Hopefully that'll come through very, very soon. Oh, meanwhile, right now, is the market going green?
The rock has come back to.
Nah, it's not going green, but here comes AMD trying to go back to the upside right now. So AMD's looking like it wants to get going here. I don't know. It's back up to 85.10 right now, or just was. We do have that bottom. We were looking at 85. So if the market can bounce from here, I'm pretty happy with this AMD position. So we're going to find out right now if it wants to go back to the upside. But right now, we are long AMD. It's going to be a good banger for us here today. I'm positive on AMD. We're positive on Amazon. We're positive on SNDL. And we're positive on the markets outlook, but not today as we await some of those big earnings. And it should be a flushed out situation today because after market, it's those big guys coming through. And yeah, right here, AMD off these bottoms of 85 bucks. Let's see if we can get to 85.10-ish very, very soon.
Yeah, and this CMRA, that other one that Brennan brought to our attention, like, just watch out for this. I'm going to check. I didn't even check to see what locates were on this stock.
I mean, you didn't check notes?
I checked notes, stock's still up.
Okay.
But I didn't check for locates, which is sloppy. Like, I don't, like, when I look at what happened in PGY, it's like it had to run stops and break shorts backs like 2 or 3 times before I wanted to try to short it. So I'm not even sure that I would want this, but you should always check to see what the price is. It's so cheap, it's 4 cents. 4 cents a share, so it is worth locking in just to make sure I have the ability to. Like, if it consolidates, makes a break up from here, there's nothing. Like, it probably has to get to $5 maybe, $4, then $5 before it gets something significant. So there's lots of room for this to still go. Obviously, one of these new issues that, again, with a really small float, be careful trading them. We'll always say that. But if you're still watching, the overall market just made a bit of a bounce here. It's going to come to Tesla as it's been sideways since that huge flush when it took out 780. And then just starts going sideways, but making some higher lows here. Like, there's at least a little something going on with Tesla trying to break back into the upside. I'm not saying Tesla's along from here, but it's at least showing some signs that it wants to hold these lows. I mean, the S&P 500 bounced off of the support at the bottom, probably because Tesla's holding up a little bit, probably because Apple has actually managed to hold above its low of the day. So this is what's causing us not to absolutely tank again. Because I'll tell you, it's not Amazon that's holding us up. It's not Alphabet that's holding us up. It's names like Apple. It's names like Tesla.
I just want to talk soon because we are going to go over and get some pretty interesting guests coming through because I just want to talk to people that are in the Canadian environment right now. There's ADRs. We talk about that on the pink sheets with, Roche or Adidas and things like that. The Neo Exchange has actually made a couple interesting products, and that is to have the ability to trade some of the big cap names over on the US side over here in Canada. So just as an example, it hasn't done too many shares today. We have it marked as 51,000. But Microsoft, you could see this is only a $19 name Canadian right now. So you can go ahead and take some of these plays over here in Canada, and they follow the same as the NASDAQ name does. So you don't have to any longer transfer over, like what I always used to do, transfer over money. You lose on the exchange. Like if I get paid in Canadian dollars and I want to buy Microsoft, I got to go over to my E-Trade account or wherever it is, fund over, switch the money, lose 2 or 3% on the exchange. Now, look at this, even this name, Tesla. Here's another one, right? Look at the move back up on Tesla on earnings, follows it exactly. Now we're back down into this range one more time. So this is exactly the way Tesla looks, right? So there's a lot of names for this. All the names that are going to be reporting over the next little while. Google, AMD, like they're all there, NVIDIA. So just I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a heads up, although we won't trade them as actively on the show. Just due to volume, but they're great investment tools and very, very proud to have Neil coming up very, very soon. But Neil, you had one more name.
No, just to add to that, you've actually probably heard us every time Prad says, "Oh, it's too expensive for me to get into Alphabet. I'm waiting for the split." he had the chance to trade he could have traded the CDR or got into the CDR, which quite frankly, I'll just let you guys know, like I do own shares of Alphabet and Amazon personally using the CDR because of you don't have to worry about the exchange, but on top of that, because they do trade at a more reasonable entry price, depending on how many shares you want to get. You can always get fractional shares, but that's why we're happy to have these guests coming through. Brennan, why don't you give some introductions?
Yeah, absolutely. Great tee up there, guys, for CDRs. An absolutely fantastic investment opportunity if you are an investor on this side of the border specifically. And we're going to touch on a few reasons why that is. We're very happy to have Elliot Scher back with us, Managing Director and Global Head of Wealth Solutions at CIBC, and also Eric Sloan, Chief Revenue Officer at the NEO Exchange, joining us live, in fact, from the NEO Exchange. As you can see, gentlemen, great to have you back. To celebrate today, we're celebrating. It's an exciting day because it's almost, I checked the date, in fact, guys, it was July 18th. Last year, I sat in this very same spot, and we discussed the launch initially of these products. CDRs in this country, CIBC again teaming up with the NEO Exchange, as we said. Elliot, I'll come to you first. I mean, congratulations, first of all. I mean, a very successful launch, a very successful first year for these products. For anyone, I mean, we gave a very brief description there, but for anyone who might be not familiar with what we're talking about here, why don't you let the audience know once again, or just give us a refresher on what these are exactly?
Yeah, with pleasure. Thank you very much for having me on the show. It is actually a very exciting day for us. It's our 1-year anniversary from the first day that they traded on the exchange, and we've launched 7 new CDRs today. But in a very quick summary, CDRs are Canadian securities that allow Canadian investors to buy and invest in U.S. companies in Canadian dollars with a built-in currency hedge. And they can do it at a fraction of the price per share, making expensive shares that trade at high price per shares more affordable for Canadian retail investors.
The exchange point of view, obviously a no-brainer. This is going to be a very popular product, especially when you see the names that we'll get into here in a second. But give us your perspective from the exchange point of view. What does this bring as far as the offerings and the products available?
Brendan, thanks very much for having us on. For us, as an exchange, it's about opening access to the U.S. market in a way that's never been done before for Canadian investors. And it's about democratizing that access. We're enabling that fractional share purchase for new investors, for advisors, for anyone who's really looking for a fair and interesting way to access the U.S. market and ultimately buy what they can afford. It also very cleanly represents everything we stand for here at NEO. It's an incredible innovation delivered by CIBC. We're proud to be partners with them in listing these products on the exchange and excited to be celebrating 1 year.
NEO's been at the forefront of innovation right from day one. You got a bit of a sneak peek there as to what is available through these CDR products. Elliot, let's talk a little bit about where we started, a little bit about how things have updated throughout the year and where we're at today as far as tell everyone the initial launch, because that was very exciting. I remember discussing it on the show. And then what has been added as far as, I mean, let's face it, these are the biggest of the biggest U.S. names.
Yeah, so a year ago we started, and it was Amazon.com. Obviously, everyone is very familiar with Amazon.com. And we started with just a single CDR. I'd say the fractional share ownership at the time was very, very relevant because Amazon.com was trading at around 3,500 US. And so we did a 1 to 200 fractional share ownership, or CDR ratio, as we call it. And then we slowly grew, and we grew by listening to Canadian investors. So we initially added Apple, and then we added Google and Facebook, or now it's Meta platforms. And we added Microsoft, Visa. So we started off with more of the growth tech names, and now we've diversified our lineup. We have the financials, so JP Morgan and MasterCard, Goldman, and now we've got a more even diverse lineup by coverage by industry sector. So today we launched Nike, McDonald's, Starbucks, Verizon. So really have all of the main sectors within industry groups within the S&P 500 well covered now with 30 names. So just again, back to the conversation, Brennan, we had about a year ago, I don't think in our wildest dreams we would have been at 30 CDRs 1 year in, but we grew as fast and as quickly as we did based on the strong feedback that we got from our investor base. And they just kept asking for individual names that we continue to add to our lineup. So that's how we got to where we are today.
So obviously a ton of benefits when it comes to why we should be looking at these products versus, buying the U.S. listed equities if you are on the Canadian side of the border. Outside of, simply the fractional point of view and a lower purchase price, give the audience, a little bit more detail on why these are so beneficial.
Yeah, I'd say the first one, the strongest benefit is that it's just traded on the exchange in Canadian dollars. You don't have to convert your Canadian dollars to invest in US dollar companies. So just taking away that step, it eliminates a step. So it improves and it makes the process more efficient, and then it reduces a cost. And, that cost for converting your Canadian dollars to US dollars can be pretty onerous at some places. And so by just having a trade in Canadian dollars, we're completely eliminating that step and that cost. And the second big benefit is the currency hedge that we built in to the CDR. This just avoids and eliminates the concern of changes and fluctuations in the US dollar, Canadian dollar exchange rate. Canadians are globally diversifying their portfolios more and more every day. And as a result, their portfolios are becoming more heavily weighted outside of Canadian dollars. And by embedding a currency hedge in there, they don't have to worry about that currency risk, but they're able to diversify their portfolio globally. So, those are the two really significant value propositions and benefits that investors have seen.
Eric, let's touch a little bit on this year, because let's face it, it's been a wild ride. It's been extremely volatile. We've seen liquidity, for the most part, on the lower end of the scale simply because of the uncertainty that's involved in the market today. Touch on how we've grown a little bit as far as interest in these products on the NEO exchange. Has there been an uptick in demand for these products throughout the year? And with the volatility that we've seen, how has that changed throughout this year?
Well, I think three quick answers for you on that front. It's clear, especially this year, the retail investor is taking a bit of a backseat on investing actively in market, but they're still looking for opportunities, and that's something we've seen very clearly through the CDR listings. Canadians are still buying global stocks; they're still buying U.S. names, and we see that activity show up with market movements, with dividend and distribution announcements. So that's something that Elliot and the CIBC team have been actively responding to with new product. We continue to get daily interest from investors and from advisors and recommendations and requests for new names to launch. CIBC has been extremely responsive in bringing those new tickers out to market in response to those requests. And I think that's something that Elliot and the team committed to early, and they've been delivering upon even through Q1 and Q2 this year. From a volume and volatility perspective, I know Elliot's got some phenomenal information to share on correlation and how the CDRs have managed through some of that period. So I'll maybe reserve the answer for him. But on volume and interest and liquidity in particular, treat these CDRs as direct access to the U.S. market. We've seen some very large block trades north of 10, 15 million in a single print show up on screen. So that the same point that we continue to reinforce for the ETF business here in Canada, traded volume does not equal liquidity. You want to see that in an on-screen transparent quote that an investor can trade with. That's something that the team and I here at NEO actively stand behind, and with tremendous market makers that CIBC has been putting to work on CDR since day one, you can now see and trade directly against on the NEO exchange for any one of the 30 CDRs out in market, including the 7 launched today. Elliot, maybe good for you to share some color on the correlation metrics and tracking how CDRs have done over the course of the last year, as we've seen some pretty interesting market conditions.
Sure, and actually just on that point, in terms of the receptivity, so we've been a year in, and really we've only been 7 months in since we've had kind of critical mass, more than 10 CDRs, and we now have over $1 billion under management, which we think is a phenomenal accomplishment, especially given the challenging market conditions that we've seen the last 5 months. On the exchange, we've seen over $4 billion of value traded, so quite a bit of activity, buying and selling going on in the market. So again, that just speaks to the the market receptivity, the market interest in the product. And then in terms of the correlation, so Amazon.com, we're at the 1 year mark, so it's our oldest, longest standing CDR, and the daily correlation, or the correlation of daily returns since inception, is over 99%. So really, really strong results. We're really proud of that, so that investors can take comfort that when they're investing in the CDR, they are getting direct exposure to the underlying Amazon.com shares.
Elliot and the team set to ring the closing bell in an hour, Elliot. In fact, we're coming up on 3 o'clock here. So, the team at CIBC ringing the closing bell at the NEO Exchange this afternoon in an hour. Guys, congratulations. It's an exciting time. 1 year anniversary for CDRs in Canada listed on the NEO Exchange. Elliot Scher, Managing Director of Global Head of Wealth Solutions at CIBC, and Eric Sloan, Chief Revenue Officer at the NEO Exchange. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Our pleasure.
And there we have it. Great interview. And like Neil mentioned, I am also a client. So, no, I'm part of that $1 billion. I've invested there. I really like the currency hedge. I mean, that's what they talked about, that you don't have to flip over your money and then lose right away when you're trying to lay down an investment. Like if I want to drop in $2,000 or something into Google and I have Canadian money because
We're Canadian.
then, it gives me that opportunity to do that, feeless, basically. Yeah. Like you just explained, 99% correlation with the underlying, right? So right there, you don't have to pay those Forex fees to flip your money over. So, again, this is just, not a paid advertisement or nothing. We're bringing you guys this information because we think it's just valuable. We use it ourselves, and I just want to congratulate everybody over there at CIBC and at NEO, and maybe I'll come over there for a drink.
Yes, sir. And well, actually, so they're ringing the closing bell. Someone I know got to ring the opening bell at the TSX. And
why am I not getting invited to go over to NEO Exchange?
Well, somebody had to also miss it because we were before we went to YouTube, we were internal to all the Day Trade the World offices. Yeah. And that morning, I got the happy job of still doing the stream in the morning, and Sean got to ring the bell. So I drew the short stick. It was a lot of fun. I think you got the picture up there.
Yeah, I have it up. Hey, man.
When you did it.
We'll wait for the invite.
One of these days.
We'll reach out.
Oh, but I just want to be able to do it this time. I missed out on the
closing bell. Wow, you ring the opening, I'll ring the closing.
It'd be a lot of fun to do it.
We figure that out.
The market is still making some moves, and they're unfortunately not necessarily to the upside. But Affirm here, I see a lot of people talking about Affirm, and thank you, What Traffic, for the super chat there. But I see not everyone, but a lot of people talking about Affirm. Now down 11.5% and still making fresh lows. So it broke what was 23.25, bounced off of 23 even, and this 23.25, the former triple bottom, it would have been a quadruple bottom had it bounced. Looks like it's turning into a bit of resistance. And as I was whining and complaining about PGY, it's now kind of breaking through that 18. I'm just looking for VWAP on this thing. And that's CRMA, which Brennan brought to you, the latest. Whoops, I get it wrong. It's CMRA, sorry. CMRA, which Brennan was bringing to us. That actually did not break out and go to $4. I just assumed, hey, these things only go to the upside. No, I'm kidding. I didn't really believe that. But I wasn't willing to short it until it got to $4. I did pay for the shorts. It's trying to hold and catch a bit of a bid here. I would not be surprised if it doesn't follow the same, like what PGY did. And the reason why I think you don't want to sleep on this one, even if it doesn't go up tomorrow, is PGY had this pattern of, break out, go from $2 to $8, do nothing for a day, then break out, go from $6 to $14, do nothing for a day, then break out and go from 10 to 21. So my educated guess is tomorrow PGY might not do anything, and that doesn't mean you should ignore it on, what day is today? Today's Thursday. Thursday, you should not ignore this stock if it ends up going sideways. Right. Like that kind of a pattern. It's so obvious, but remember that 9 o'clock buyer or the big volume spike on the oil futures at 9 a.m. for like 5 or 6 days in a row? Sometimes you just follow the pattern until it breaks. I know Brendan will remember a certain pattern that we used to see in the Brazilian market that was absolutely free money. There used to be these dumb algorithms that would buy up an individual stock, the same stock, with like 2 minutes to go for like 2 weeks in a row. Right before the market would close, they'd buy the same stock, and you're like, the next day, same stock again. The next day, same stock again in the final couple of minutes. It was like the easiest scalp trade because for some reason they didn't think people would clue into it. But I'm just thinking PGY could go sideways tomorrow and then still not be done. Maybe that CMRA follows that same pattern.
You know, there's no fooling you and Brendan, I noticed. So, joke's on you guys, Brazil.
Oh, you can fool. Well, Brazil fools me all the time.
Yeah, no, I know. Okay, so just quickly here, just an update on Amazon. Again, another one of those CDRs over there. Okay, so I own this in the U.S. market. I remember buying this name hell of a long time ago, so I'm pretty happy with the Amazon return, but not lately. Amazon and a lot of these tech names obviously continue to just melt down right now, and there goes Amazon. I just want to bring it to everyone's attention that I was going to get out on a 115.20 break up here, but that's, and again, I was just trying to use this 115 area right there. I don't want to get out at 115. I wanted to up it a little bit, so into here 20s or 30s, but for right now, Amazon continues to the downside, and then we did get out of our AMD there, which was a mistake, and bought right back in and took that money right back to the upside. So again, in at 9, in at 90s, out at 85, bought back at 90, and then my best out is right here on the 50 period of 10s. So I have some 10s, some 11s. So it's back and forth. It's like yesterday. Remember we were just throwing it around there on AMD. Or was it AMD? Yeah, it was AMD last night that we were doing this. So we'll hold out hope that we don't take out that bottom, but if we do on AMD, then we're going to have to get out of there. As oil's closed, now down that 1.63%. That happened at 2:30. We may or may not have talked about that, as oil's down there at 95.12 with the closing price. Still trades a little bit in the aftermarket, just electronically, of course. And then there's the NASDAQ right now, like we just said, making new day lows down to 12,084. So that 12,000 that we thought was nowhere to be found, guess what? We found you, bro. You're right there. Just like that Carly didn't know where Neil was, found him, and also found...
What was up with that?
I don't know what was up with that. And also found out right now that we got another piece in here. So now we have our position on AMD. It's kind of a, it's a full position for me for right now. It's just because the market, there it goes, and we're going to get out of this in a second. And the reason why I said for right now is that I never, and I say this all the time, and I try to stay true to my word and true to what we're doing here. And that is that I'm never taking any like monster longs if the NASDAQ is below the 50 period. I mean, we just keep getting all of these tops here. I mean, this 12,160 hit here, and it just also bottoms there. So until we really start to clear up right now, it's more like pop and fades the play. Wait for something to go a little bit, then take the short off of a key level. So that's what we're going to continue to do here. Unfortunately, AMD is really nowhere near anything now. I mean, if we can get back up to 85.20 and I can get out of this trade, then maybe we would reverse into a short. But for right now, it looks like we will take about a 15-cent hit if we break through 75 right here, which is about to happen right now on AMD. So it looks like today we're up on AMD, but it's position pending. And if this goes down, then a couple cups of coffee I owe the chip sector today, because it's the only name I've traded. You know what we didn't look at though off the open? We didn't even have it in our watch list, which was a little bit strange, but we don't normally trade it, and the volume hasn't been great. NXPI, they reported yesterday. Yep. So you could see pretty choppy here in the morning, but again, a decent report. NXPI, of course, they're the chips in cars. So, that's one of their bigger clients are the car industry. So, you're going to obviously hear about supply chain issues, but NXPI came out with actually not bad. Unlike some of their other friends here, we're still above the 50 period on NXPI with a bottom of 140 and a nice move back up. So I feel like this is a decent name today, still above water here, 0.26%, which is pretty impressive considering what the NASDAQ is experiencing right now.
Yeah, and reload into Micron. I'm about to get stopped out low of the day on Micron because I'm not... again, if you want a bottom test when the market's doing this, like relative strength maybe, support levels definitely, but holding through you're out, no, that can't happen. But Domingo Ayala here is back on the run, AYLA. Anybody that gets that reference, I love you. But I was only long this stock above $2, and it never really did much for me.
Is it like a Dominican baseball player or something? That would be my guess.
You'll look at, you know what?
I'm not. I mean, obviously,
I'm gonna show them to you after the show, and people can Google it. It's a parody account where he does instructional videos for baseball.
Oh, well, I was close.
But they are all just slapstick
hilarious
and hilarious. He's actually been able to meet some MLB guys. The dude he's absolutely hilarious.
Is it good? Yeah.
Domingo Ayala baseball, but AYLA is the stock I'm talking about. Was on our watch list, by the way, so this is something that everybody could have been looking at. Just caught a bit of a bid. It ends up holding right here at 160, which I was not patient enough for, and then getting back up. But there's no volume on AYLA right now. This little, like it bounces 160 to 220, significant 40% bounce here, right into resistance. I don't know, you guys, can we show the chart for a second? Yeah, right into resistance from this morning, exactly where I wanted it to break out from. I was trying to hold for these breaks. Can't get past 225. Now lower highs. Looks eerily similar to where it was failing earlier on today. So I'm kind of favoring the shorts in and around this 225 area, especially if it reclaims 2 to the downside. Then I'd be wanting to short off that 2 level. Exactly what I didn't do earlier on. It failed 2, and it was an easy short below $2. I'll think the same thing if we get back below, or even just wait for that 225. And as for that CMRA, I'm not saying it's done. I thought it would have a bit of a stronger consolidation here. It might need to press back down into 250, but if it falls here, it doesn't mean it's absolutely done. And as far as Affirm goes, man, like you just short any significant level here. Maybe 2220 or 2320 can just be a short, or even taking out these fresh lows with the market seeming like it's determined to make a run at fresh bottoms for power hour here. And Tesla, another one. Remember I was saying Tesla was showing some signs of trying to hold the bid and slide to the upside? Well, that might be going away here as it's about to break down at 772, but 770 would be that near-term support. For now, really just still looking shorts after getting stopped out on Micron again. The only long I would consider is that CM, at this point, would be that CMRA. If I can see it bounce off this 70 or maybe catch a bid off of 40s to 50s where it had earlier support, then we'd just be playing the momentum on a low floater.
Yeah, I was going to say, stop that again there. As I'm waiting for here, why do I have a message open with Greg? Oh, yeah, golfing. We're still trying to get right here for, I was looking, it's our T-ball. We have a T-ball tournament coming up. That's what it was. And we're still waiting for our rep gear. Like the kids don't have like their jackets and stuff yet. Okay, right now, that doesn't bother anybody here. But all right, so our AMDs, you know, we're battling this long right now. We have the long at 84.77. It has dropped down below a little bit here. A couple outs, a couple back ins. I'm just trying to be honest with you guys. We're going to try to hold this as much as we can, but it doesn't look like this wants to go back up. So 84.87 right now. Here we go, 84.88. Okay, now, so we're starting to get some more outs here as we climb back up. So we are long, and we're going to be positive on this name today. Well, I shouldn't say that. You know, remember we said if this can climb back up, so maybe I should zoom in a little bit. If this can climb back up, then maybe we want to get something out and then reload it. But you could see, like, out there, reload, out there, reload. So we're not making a killing on this. We're not even making close to that. But we would like to try a nice little upside move here. Okay, now I got to respect this. A nice, give me those 98s, baby. Can we get this for 20 cents? And again, like, I'm just getting excited now because there it is. Yes, sir. Right there. It's a hot dog kind of a trade right now for us as we're starting to make some moves here on our net back up to the upside. Maybe this is the bottom here, not the bottom. Let me rephrase that. We might have just made a temporary bottom because, again, remember it's earnings time, right? Here we go. Come on, give me those 04s. We'll take them. This is what happens, man. Like, we've taken shares. We're putting them out for sale. They're getting eaten up here. So a nice little move back upside for AMD as there's the NASDAQ. Like, I would have felt horrible getting out and then showing that as the out, but we actually went right back in for our largest position on AMD. Just trying to defend these bottoms. I don't advise you doing this. Like, we are here on Day Trade the World where I pay little to no fees to trade. So it's like, you know, when we get out and I see a momentum push back up to the upside, for me, it's just a button to push and we get right back in. The only thing that I really have to decide is the amount of risk to put into this. So what we talk about that, you know, would be the capital that we put in there, known as buying power to us here in the prop world. But that's what we're looking to put back in there. And then Neil and I both make independent decisions. How many shares do we want to put in? You know, what are the opportunities that we're looking at? Do we want to short Sundial? Yes, we do. Do we want to go long AMD? Yes, we do. And then right now, it's coming back up Sundial.
Actually, my trail is literally about to get hit. Like, I was looking for $2 on Sundial, but if you look at it, like 230, like the last real big move down was right here at this 230 level, and it's catching some like sort of outsized bids, the offers starting to thin up here. And a lot of times this will happen to you, but I thought it would go to $2. It's not going to happen. It doesn't look like, at least. And the other thing, just for clarity, I said I would put a trail. I've been tightening my trail on PGY because it refuses to really capitulate and the buyers keep stepping up. It reclaimed 18 again. So I'm out of this one. And I'll tell you this, like, Neil a year ago would have been short PGY, I want to say at least 6 or 7 times today. Outside chance, maybe 10 times to try and capture the move that eventually happened at 20. What I've kind of learned with these, especially recently, when it's one of these, like it's just a recent SPAC or it's just a low float name without a catalyst, is you cannot really look for a top or a reasonable top until shorts that you would have liked have been broken 2 or 3 times. So that was the case at 12. That was the case on the 15 short. That was the case at 17 and a half. All shorts that I probably in the past would have had. And then just wait for the next move, which would have been 20. And then each time it failed the 20 break, or the recent highs made from it, that's when we finally got into it. And I think sticking to that and being willing to miss the trade to make the trade is the way I like to go with these for now. Brendan, what do you got?
Another one you're going to see on the earnings board coming up here for tonight, basically back to day lows. Visa to the downside. I was noting PayPal, some of the other payment type stocks. I mean, PayPal's obviously crypto related, but big day down for, not big day, but 0.9 here for Visa, back to day lows again, earnings aftermarket as well.
Visa. Yeah, we had American Express come through. I was just reading, apparently NASDAQ's changing. I don't know if you saw that. I mean, it's just in our email right now. NASDAQ's changing the values here on the time and sales tomorrow. What? So that should be, yeah, that's going to change for a lot of us that do obviously tape read, but I don't really tape read anymore. So I'm not too concerned about it. I just use, like I was saying over and over again, let's go over to AMD because I want to talk about Amazon here quickly because the out's going to be that 115.20. So we're very, very close. Ooh, that came close right there to getting me out. Sometimes these wicks, like I hate them because like, I got out on that, but we did not get out this time and we'll get out next time on a 115.20 break. Man, that was close to getting out. That's literally 115 on the dot. We go a little higher than that. So pretty close to getting out of Amazon. And again, what we're talking about right here are these shorts right now. So we've rode this all the way down and done pretty well here with our, whoopsies, whoops, wrong order, with our take here on Amazon. So watch out for that one here coming up to 115.20 now on AMZN. So that's going to be my out right there. And I am perfectly fine with it. Why? Because we actually, it's going to be close, man. Like just this one trade here, because I put back shares, like I might be up almost the same on AMD that I'm on Amazon today, with my number one stock still going to be, actually my number one stock is not Shopify off that dip down here. What a great short that was with the cover right there. But it's going to be SNDL is my number one stock. Whoa, what the? Wow, okay. That went to 212? I wasn't even...
I'm just saying, the trail,
yeah.
The 230 just broke that out, which was that last line in the sand the Sundial put in. By the way, I'm looking, I said CMRA could be something that we look for a bit of a dead cat bounce in, and it just bounced off that 250 level, which was pretty much what I was looking for. Like, this is the only level I would have been able to play, or at least to look at to play for that dead cat bounce. That's one to watch. Another one, which I don't think, we showed Luca and GovX, but we haven't talked about Sega, some of the monkeypox names. Sega eventually broke out that high, by the way, on the daily chart. There's your, 1735 on Sega. Well, the double top here at about 1730. It broke out. I had the trade. It got to like 60s, eventually to like 70s, and then in reverse. But it's still holding up relatively well. And have a look at what Sega's done the last 2 days, 11 into 80. I'm not. I haven't really been in a position where I love the short. I think if I see $20 tomorrow, maybe I'll think about it. But this is holding up relatively well. Up 11%. There's been no dip. There's just been no follow through to the breakout. And that's what's disappointing about it. I think that's why I just had to take that one out. I saw GovX fall, and then Sega was resisting the breakout, so I took a very small winner. But this is still in a very strong upward trend. And if the volume can kick in, maybe it's something that can put in a late run. Although I want to make sure that some of the other related names are showing signs of strength. Like, I'm sure Luke is happy because like that one fell through VWAP GovX, but Sega still holding up rather nicely. Another one that we should be watching a little bit there. And I see Stock Alert saying that was their best trade of the day in GovX.
Nice.
Yeah, and this is, look at what it did today. I don't know what you did there, Stocks and Alerts. But whether it was catching a consolidation here at 160 or simply just taking the double top break at this 185, like either way, you play the trend until it makes that reversal. Hey, pretty clean. Sometimes $2.50 being the high when a stock is making a move like this from $1, yesterday. Sometimes it's not that complicated. Sellers like to think about round numbers too. Like how often have you taken profit on a swing trader in your investment account because it got to a round number? Like I do that crap all the time.
Take profit? Never.
Well, you know what? Every single
Losses?
every single entry I had in U.S. Steel in the last 2 years has been at 20, and every single exit I had was off an even number, and a lot of times it was at that 30 level. It's psychological, man. Like we're all human beings. And it's not that that's a smart thing to do. A lot of times it's actually not the smart thing to do, but every now and then it works out. Like you look at a small cap like this, 250, that was the turn. You saved yourself 20% of a pullback there. And by the way, it's trying to catch a bid at 2.
It's Frank Jones. What's up, Frank Jones? Okay, I just want to show everybody the way I trade, and I hope I'm showing you that consistently on the show. I mean, every day. But just a brief little example here on AMD because it's pretty clear as day here that I can show you, and this is what's given me now one negative day this month, zero last one. No, I think we're on a great streak right now, and part of the reason is obviously our ability to reverse into our positions, and really just be able to take small losses, and then in this kind of a market, try to hold on to something blowing up to the upside. And on that note, we still have a quarter left of this AMD trade. So let me just explain to you the losses, and this is why we talk about trading your own book. What I do here is going to be hard for a lot of you to replicate just because you don't have, well, maybe you do have the ability to go back and forth with these trades, and if you do, that's fantastic. So I'll just leave it at that. But here we go. So this is the trade here on AMD, right? We had an average price of about 85 into here. So we got an 84.90, an 85.05, and then that was that. So that's 85.08, 84.95. So give us an average price of about 85. There's the out rate there of 85, right? And so that's a 15-cent hit. Then we say, nah, that's not the bottom because it starts to go back up. So we just get right back in. And then look where we start to take these out. So that's 85.80, 84.80, sorry, or 84.85 in. And then some of these outs are back up here. So again, that's a 15-cent hit. And then that take back to the upside again, right, is much more. That first out is 15 cents. And then these outs go upside to 40 cents in the money. So right there, risk to reward, ding on that trade, right? Then it's like, okay, it comes back in. We take more shares at that same level. So then we get 84.85 again. Then it drops down and we get out at 75. But then we're like, so that's an 11-cent hit on the way down. But look what happens. Then we get right back in, and it was just by luck, to be honest. It's not by luck. I mean, I wanted to get more shares. I just felt like we just kept taking bottoms there, watching the NASDAQ as well. And I was like, I want to go back in. So we actually get right back in at the same price, 77. So we take a 12 or 13-cent hit on that first bit, and then look what happens there. Then it starts blowing up. So we still have a quarter left, and you could see this is now 41 cents in the money, including that we took a bunch out when we came back up here. So, it's not going to be like, oh my, and there's a 20 out right there, right? So it's not like, oh my God, these are one in, one out, banger trades. No, it's like, I know my strengths and my weaknesses, and sometimes I get out a little too early. There's no doubt about that, but we get right back in. And there it is, man, boomed it to the upside. So AMD, like I said, is going to turn out to be like one of the #1 stocks on the show today. And I've just started trading it right now for you, and I didn't have great calls. It's just right sizing, right risk management, and you're able to take it back to the upside. So for me, I feel like we're at the carnival here because I get to do this every single day. And there's another example of kind of what I'm looking for. We now have 20%, no longer 25% of the play because we just got a piece out there at that 85.20 mark. So let's see if it works. You already know my out, which we're getting pretty lucky on for Amazon. Normally I'd be going short here, but again, we're above the 50 period, although it's coming back in right now. And if we can get out of Amazon, let's get out of it. This is going to be a big win for us. We're already $1.80 in the money on this name. So if Amazon wants to take this level out, we'll do that off of those prices. But again, when we're wrong on Amazon, it's a small hit. But when we're right, we're trying to extend it out to make a little bit more money on that. So I just want to go over that because it seems like it was a good example there on AMD.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it's all about. You've got to find your own trading style. And I can't, you find a setup, you have to go for it. I was just talking about I might wait for 20s on SIGA, but then I was saying GovX needed to hold up at $2. Well, guess what? Morning support on GovX, that just broke down and then made another rejection of $2. As that was happening, SIGA, which I just told, like I was just in the long of this, trying to catch the breakout. It was all kinds of weakness. Well, it's still trying to get back to that high of the day. It just rolls over on a lower high. I'll zoom in so you can see a bit better. 1780 up at your top. It just rolls over, can't get back to that high, 15 cents away, and then I'm able to grab that short, and grab the short off of that little curl. Now, I always wait for, I like to see it go up. This is a 3-minute chart, by the way. I like to see it go up, sort of make a failure, show a bit of an offer, and then sort of jump in off of that. Even if my stop's going to be at the high of the day, that's just a preferred way to enter the trade. So now I'm into the monkeypox names to the short side with SIGA here, looking for 1725, 17 VWAP. Those would be the obvious outs, at least for me. And I guess it goes right back to those even numbers, because I'm right back to those quarters. The market doesn't seem to want to be doing much. And we're now 25 minutes from the imbalances coming out.
Oh, shoot.
So when I say not doing much, we've gotten to these lows on the NASDAQ, and we are within earshot of that 12,000 number, which I think if we do get a sell-off into the close, my gut tells me it bounces off of 12,000, so even any shorts you have, let's look for that one to be support. But we're not really screaming down into it. We've been going back and forth, down 2.1%, down 2%, like 1.95 in the afternoon, but not running away from it. The ES has been a little bit more conservative. It's broken the lows a few times, but hasn't done much with it. The equivalent level on the ES here, that 3,900 level. So we're not really running away from anything. We're in a bit of a consolidation off of the bottom, and that's why you want to make sure you're trading something either off of a key level, like Sean's saying, or trade something with an independent catalyst, which is the CMRA, the PGY, the SIGAs of the world. And I'm sure there are a few other names out there that maybe we've been not paying attention to. One of them I know that we haven't talked about here today. Shame on us. We've talked every single big cap name with the exception of Meta, I feel like. And it's not that Meta's chart's any different. It's actually almost more bearish than some of the other names that we've looked at. However, it gets really interesting on Meta when you peel back and go to this 158 area, down here at 157. Every time I do this and old trades load up, I just want to kick myself. Because really, I love 172 that much, but I didn't have the short here. It fails 172 on Friday, and then yesterday we come in below that price, and I wasn't shorting it at the open. Whatever, that doesn't matter. But support on Meta here, 158, a pretty big level as we get down to these bottoms. This was just here at these lows a couple of weeks ago, up to 184, and we're right back into that 158. So if you're looking for things that are holding this market up, Meta is doing a pretty decent job of it, as weak as it obviously has been. I'm going to go back and check on my SIGA just to make sure. I do have my bids out. Yeah, I'm sitting 25s and see if we can get some 17s. And again, want to stop out at the high of the day if it does happen to get there. I stopped out of Micron and just keeps on retesting these lows. I'm not sure this is going to hold up. And one of the reasons why, Intel had also been relatively strong. It's been breaking the lows throughout this afternoon as well. So there just hasn't been a lot in the chip sector or the tech sector that's holding these markets to the upside. Apple's doing a decent job of it. Tesla not necessarily anymore. Still going a bit sideways, but not showing the signs of strength that it had been since about 12 o'clock.
No, and again, I was raising capital on Tesla. I mean, that was the whole point. It's not that I'm still a shareholder in Tesla and a pretty decent one. Not, in my account anyways, for Tesla, but we raise capital for moments like this where it comes back in and I could just rebuy the same shares that I sold for that 15% discount. I could just do it 2 days later. Pretty good name to do that in, but I'm saving dry powder for Microsoft. And if we have that earnings board, I still want to look at that before we come to the very end of the day, if we can get that up at some point there, guys, the earnings board. But Microsoft, again, is down to that 250 area. So, I mean, this is going to be one of those names that's going to continue to struggle, I feel like, into this spot. They have one of the higher PEs. There it is. Thanks, guys. Again, let's just have a quick look at the board. So, Google's already gotten hit pretty badly there over the last little while, down to that 105. And, of course, Google's PE is, I believe, now it's 16 right now, 17 for Google. So that's about right. We just talked about Visa coming through as well. But then Microsoft is right there in the middle. We also have Spotify coming up. There's There's some big names. Rogers, yeah, shout out to everybody on the Rogers network. How was that the last couple of weeks here in Canada? Not great. Kraft Heinz. So it's a very, very mixed board as far as that is concerned. But
and
of course,
Boeing.
I'm going to be, and Boeing, but I'm going to be focused on Microsoft and Google, as that's what I normally trade anyways. The Microsoft PE, and I'm going to show it to you right here on FinViz. Remember I just said Google's was 17? Well, Microsoft is still up here at 24. That's the forward PE. The current is 27. So, you know, these are names, like even if you look at Apple, I believe Apple's is going to be lower than that right now, about the same, but still lower. We just talked about Google. The name that I like the most, if you're going to look at valuation, why is there an ad? Yeah, why is this an ad? Right there. Meta right here. I don't know, maybe I clicked on the wrong
TV,
thing.
gentlemen.
Right there again.
Well,
Look at forward PE for Meta. Damn it, got to pay for this website. 12, right? And so there's some pretty low numbers, but the one name that remains pretty high, for those of you that are asking about Microsoft, it's still a very, very large position for mine in my account in the longer term investment portfolio, but 24 is pretty ugly there for Microsoft. Normally, like historically, it's fantastic, and you'd be loading up on this number, but at the same time, I feel like there could be some reweighting coming through on Microsoft, so that's going to have to watch out. A big time trade today to the downside, down to that 250. So it's not like we're the only ones thinking that, man. It's down 3%, already got hit. If you look at it daily, same thing. It's not great. It's like Google. They're down here. They're trying to break the bottoms. So if this is a poor report tonight from the big guy, then honestly, man, Microsoft could easily take down this 240, and then you're just looking for a lot lower than that. Like, I don't know where you stop. Does it need to get a 16 or 17 PE handle on it? Like, if that's the case, then you got to do the math, and I believe that's going to take you to probably this 210, 220 area for softies. So just be careful if they miss. Like, it's hard for me to sit here and say, hey, look, yeah, Microsoft's going to have a great quarter. Like, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. Do I think sales is great for Azure? Yeah. I mean, I know they're online. They keep talking about cloud. Obviously, that's what I'm talking about with Azure. They keep talking about data as being a big windfall for them, and I believe that to be true. But there's a lot of competition in the space, so very interested to see it. Did they sign up new clients? What's Xbox doing? That's not a big part of it. But also, what about the PC story? If companies are cutting back on the remote working and things like that, does that mean that they need to buy new PCs when employees are coming back to the office? Are they using old ones? What's going on with the licensing there? I mean, there's a lot of free products as well that can sort of mask Microsoft. So I'm very interested in this, but if you're going to go by valuation, man, it's the worst one right now that I can think of, sans the chip. I mean, I'm just comparing them to big tech. Like, I'm not talking about AMD or NVIDIA, let alone Coinbase, what you have up there right now.
Actually, before we do that,
go ahead, yeah.
There was a question, and look, there's no such thing as a bad question. I'll tell you this right now. I don't care if you think it's like, oh, I should know this. I'm not going to ask. I'll be embarrassed. Someone was asking what forward P was. So, you know when companies give guidance as to what they think future quarter earnings are going to be? So, obviously, what you actually earned, that's your earnings that's your EPS. But forward P is just that guidance. It's that projection forward. So it is obviously it's an estimate. And the thing about that is it's always subject to revisions, right? Mm-hmm. So a situation like a Walmart or any of these, when they have a revision and suddenly they revise their guidance down, well, that's gonna contrast the forward PE. But that's a great question because you'll see that everywhere.
Why do companies even guide? Like, if I was Microsoft today or any of these big names coming out this week, there's no way in hell
but
I
we know
would
the
guide.
answer. So look, the reason why
some don't though.
I know some don't, which I think is a reasonable thing to do because if you can't,
there's no way I would.
If you can't actually project the next quarter because of the current environment, then it's more reasonable to say, hey, we don't know.
Then
and
you
if
don't
that
have to come out and smash yourself.
But because it's so common that the expectation is that you give it to the market, then that's why everyone has to comply. Now, we like showing winning trades, and I like showing mistakes. And sometimes what will happen here, and on Coinbase, I'll admit that it was a pre-market position, and I never really got back into this one at the open. But Coinbase got to 53 today, down 20%. And it's not that Bitcoin is, it's not saying Bitcoin's having a good day, but it's still holding just below 21,000. Like, this is because of the issues that Coinbase is having. This is because the SEC investigation. This is because the insider trading investigation. This is because it came too far too fast with these things hanging over it. And now it is right back to where it barcoded, down around 50 bucks. Like as fast as these can come up in these bear market rallies, it can go down just as quickly. So I was guilty of just not believing in the short enough here. It got to 60 bucks, saw size in the bid. I'm like, I'm out. And then it was SSR, and I couldn't even hit that 60 when it eventually broke to the downside. I should have found a way back into this, but wow. We thought, you think that Meta is weak, or you think that Walmart had a bad day, gapping to the downside. Well, welcome to Coinbase down 20%. And we're acting like, we're not even talking about it because it's like, okay, yeah, Coinbase down 20%, so what? It's getting absolutely crushed. This at $50 tomorrow is definitely going to be worth that watch. And I do think if there's any selling into the rate hike in the afternoon, then we should see $50 on Coinbase today. So even though it's down 20%, my bias is going to be to the short side till we get to 50 on coin tomorrow morning. That doesn't mean that I'll just short it wherever it is, but I'll be looking for shorts. Maybe it's off of 56 for resistance. Maybe it's at the 55 even, but that's a bias that's not going anywhere. It was a big floor break once it got below, and again, key levels, right? This is that 63 breakout. You had tops, breakout off that level, and then a breakdown at that same price. That's the kind of thing we always try to look for. Just got to be able to hold on to it, or heck, re-enter when it does the same thing at 58. Same thing, 58 support, breaks that, never even looks back. That's actually a re-entry at 58. Forget about not getting in at 60. I should have got back in at 58.
We're trying to get, there it is. I was going to say we're trying to get out, but we just got it right there. We get another one. It's too bad because we were just waiting down here at 84.80. I don't know if you guys are trolling us. No, we're not going to define guidance for you. I mean, and I do apologize if that's not a troll, but I feel like if it is, you should. Guidance is just, I'll do it quickly so you got me. Damn it. I can't stop.
But it's fair.
Can't stop
Come
teaching.
on, man. Maybe they don't
no, you could guide on earnings. You could guide on production. It's just a forward look. So it's like, where does the company think X unit is going to be in the future? That's all. So it's like, they guide, and then a lot of the forward looks, like the analysts will come out and say like, oh, we also agree with that number, and therefore, we're stamping this price target on it or something like that. So you can look it up. That's just a basic explanation. It's probably not even that good, but that's what that is. So we're going to get out of AMD right there. Now we just hold a small piece left of it with a possible reload down here at that 84.80. But yeah, Microsoft, everything. It's a nice bounce back for the NASDAQ, but I feel like this is what we're going to be doing here until the close. With only 15 minutes until the market on close and balances come through, yeah, we're going to have to wait for it for sure. Market just kind of, to take a Prad word here, kangarooing back and forth right now. So I think that just means bouncing up and down, right? Yeah, there he is.
What do we got? He just walked on.
Speak of the devil himself. Prad is right here.
We need one of these with Prad.
He is kangarooing right now, up and down on the market.
We need somebody with some animation skills. I guess I should just ask my brother.
And as you guys can see, Sharif is back in the building. So today, not a good day to try to break in here. So that's good.
Oh, I have some. Oh, by the way, two things. One, and look, I was gonna say. I got some out of Siga, hit that first target. I was going to celebrate
hold on a second. We have Sharif and Arun in the building.
So Sharif and Arun are in the building. This
could be a problem for people.
Which I'm just saying, that would be an interesting arm wrestle. However, you guys remember Fahad and how confident he was about.
I have a story about that too. You go with your story. Go with your story.
All I'm going to say is Arun is in the building today.
No, go with your football story.
And Fahad, two things. First, Fahad actually thinks that he can challenge Arun in boxing, which is quite possible. First of all, I won't let it happen because I don't think we need to see anybody get hurt. That's not a cool look.
I don't want Arun to get hurt.
But the other problem is we're talking about flag football, and Fahad actually thinks that he can cover me one-on-one.
This part is sketchy.
In flag football.
This part is sketchy.
Fahad, I've never seen you run, but I've seen you bowl. You have no chance, dude. It will be like Jamar Chase on my 5-year-old. And she's pretty quick, but she might be faster than you too, but it's not happening, dude. You're better off trying to cover me.
5-year-old is faster than Fahad.
You're better off trying to cover me in flag football than you are boxing Arun, because Arun will literally kill you. That's all I'm going to say. The only reason
You've never seen Arun box.
The only reason he won't is because Arun's too nice of a guy.
Right.
That's the only reason you'll be safe. I understand you love to trash talk Fahad, but not Arun. Don't mess with that guy. Don't mess with Arun. Don't mess with Sharif. You can mess with Lucas. You can mess around with me, but not those two, bro.
Yeah, it's because he's not scared. That's what it is, right?
Dude's
until he sees Arun box, size could be misleading. You know what I'm saying? So I'm definitely not on Team Fahad for the boxing part of it, but I just think that I like the confidence.
Arun trained Krav Maga too. Come on, man.
That's fine.
Come on, Arun's not messing.
No,
around.
look, I don't think it's a wise comment there by Fahad, but at the same time, we only right now have. I mean, more importantly, guys, we have about 25 minutes as I hear Sharif back and forth here until what is a very pardon. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, he's ready to rock and roll. He's getting ready for these earnings coming through very, very soon. So like me, we're very excited for that. And some of you play earnings off of releases and things like that. Just be very wary that, at 4 o'clock, it's fireworks. And liquidity can be a problem if you are playing in the post-market on earnings day. But again, with Google reverse splitting, I don't find that's going to be a problem for liquidity. And then Microsoft and some of those other names, they're not high value stocks like as a price wise. So I feel like that's a pretty good take today for anybody that's looking at those names. So let's just get ready to rock. And I know we just had some fun there. My biggest thing was, I went over there and I saw Fahad because, he could beat Lucas in Apple bowling. They're doing it on their phone. But then I saw him doing billiards. And look, I haven't touched like a pool cue in probably honestly like close to a decade. Like seriously, probably I play with my kids. Like I took my kid to a go-karting place and they had a pool table there. We played, but that will be another thing. Oh, by the way,
we should do go-karts.
We should do go-karts. Yeah, no Tesla go-karts there, Randy. Next thing you know, this guy's got like a supercharger on the back of his go-kart there. But you know what I think we should do? We talked about mini golfing. But what about paintball? Because I think that could be a really fun outing.
I'm down with that.
There, if anybody's in the GTA and has any hookups at any of these places, we'd love to come through. But I also do know I've promised a few things too, that we should do a Trader TV Live like get together with all of our fans and everything like that. So hopefully we can do that at some point as well. But here we go.
Vegas.
I'd love to do that. I mean,
how I feel about that.
I'm here for Vegas, baby. Neil's never been to Vegas.
Everyone that's been around the trading floor long enough eventually hears the story about how I'm the only person in the trading community who's paid for a Vegas trip that they didn't go on. But anyways, it is what it is, and the person that went had a lot of fun, and it's still amicable and all that stuff. But anyways, I shouldn't even talk too much about the market catching a bounce for all you people. I'm going to tighten up my trail. Actually, no, I'm not going to change the trail on Amazon, but I am going to make sure. And I don't think Sega's going to follow the market, but it did just bounce off that recent support there at about 720. So I might take another leg out because we're at 340 right now. I'm going to just sort of hop on the bid and see if I can't get another leg out right in the same price we got last time, just to lighten the load on Sega. Trails out on Amazon, some strength coming into the market here. I'm trying to figure out what it's doing. And my guess is because it's I got a wick on Apple. But Apple catching a little bit of a bid here. I'll have to clean that one up for you guys. But Apple is catching a bit of a bid. It is up around that 150, 1.5 range. So it's off the lows. But ugly dark pool wick skewing my chart.
Yeah, it would be awesome if all viewers could come through, man. And some people saying that Miami would be great as well. Obviously, that would be fine. So what's up, M. Jessica? Yeah, we should start the day.
I've always wanted
Shout
to
out
go
to
to
Dan
Memphis.
McIsaac, everything like that. Yeah, Lee Trevino in the house as well. Shout out to Lee Trevino. What's up, my man? Would love to go golfing with you, of course. So, you would take us to school. That's not the real Lee Trevino, but that would be sick if it was. But I'd love to go golfing with all y'all. So that would be a lot of fun there as well. I think that we could probably do something with that. I haven't heard from Brennan in a long time, but he's over there working hard. I guess there's not much happening right now. Yellen 2 hours ago, some conference, but that's not doing anything right now. There hasn't been many headlines here heading into the close, and there's not really too much to talk about because we are just patiently waiting. Oh, there's Brennan right now.
RDBX is making a move. Thank you guys in the chat.
Yep, $106 million to buy or $160 million to buy. So what's up, Brennan? You got something now?
Yeah, not terribly exciting, but Radware, apparently, which is this one, RDWR, apparently in talks to acquire CrowdStrike, CRWD. So RDWR and CrowdStrike, guys, moving around here. A lot of letters.
What? Is CrowdStrike's halted then, right? Because it's not moving. CRWD. No.
Oh, it's
what
open.
Was that story?
They're going to buy Crowd. They are going to. We'll get the.
No, the other way around, maybe, because CrowdStrike is not. It's not moving, so we can wait. This is the CrowdStrike chart thing. Maybe we'll get that from Brendan one more time because. Yeah, right now 169, not really moving around. Brendan's going to clarify what's up.
Yeah, here we go. This will make a lot more sense. So yeah, it's CrowdStrike and Radware. So $2 billion apparently being discussed for CrowdStrike and Radware.
Okay, that makes I feel a little
It's
bit
always
better
great
about
to
that.
have when your source is globes, like whatever that
greatest source
that
ever.
was there. $2 billion though, so yeah, I don't know more about cybersecurity. Obviously, CrowdStrike tends to lead the way. There's Palo Alto. There's a couple good names that you can get into. Wow, CrowdStrike today not trading that well, as you can see down that 8%. Maybe it's because of that. Maybe that's confirmed there. But here we go. This is CrowdStrike. It's been a pretty good, couple months, I guess, when does this go back to May? Down there at 140, so I was gonna say a couple good months, so I think that's right for them, but they are well off that high of, and again, a lot of these stocks, man, not many names you're gonna see are above their 200 period. CrowdStrike tried to get there at $2 but then stopped on a dime at 195 twice before double topping and coming back in. On any kind of a buy like that, when it's only $2 billion, that's not a big portion for CrowdStrike. If they falling down on that reason, obviously we got to wait for earnings to come through again. A lot of these names still pumping around, but any kind of a buy for CrowdStrike, I really like it. I think cybersecurity is going to be something that obviously is not going anywhere. So for me, that's a buy on any dip. I've never been into CrowdStrike, and I'm waiting to get into that. 130 to 140 down here for CrowdStrike is what I really like, and regardless of the story or not.
No. Well, the only thing that scares me is I almost want to double check this because that's what the FinViz. They can't
It
really
has a
have
high PE, I
a
would say.
100 forward PE.
Probably, yeah. But they don't have a PE because they're not making money.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like it's like you're basically that is the ultimate play on growth, right? And ultimately, I think that's why it's holding up so well because it's not going anywhere. And then if you like a metaverse play, that's not a bad one as well. Two things. One, not just 15 minutes to the close, 5 minutes to imbalance, 15 minutes to the close, and we get Alphabet. I think Alphabet's right at 4 o'clock, I want to say, and it's the other one at 4:05. But I got to talk Redbox just for a quick second here because I'm not saying it's going to $7 now. It had a pretty significant pullback. This is a 15-minute. Like, it's been fading all day long until just now when it got off the schneid. But this is look at this level here at about 650 to 660 where it's trying to break out from. And then you pop over to the daily chart, same area. It's been trying to do this only for 2 days now. This is only day 2 since it bounced and doubled up off 3. But this is a significant level on the daily chart. Redbox has to be back on our radars. I kind of left it for dead this morning, thinking that it would be more of it consolidates off of 5, and then tomorrow you're looking for maybe some longs on a tight stop off $5, and then it pulls that move in the afternoon. So bit of a missed opportunity. Don't sleep on this one. It's just about the short interest and the squeeze type play there. Just a pure momentum play, but it is starting to get back up to those levels. Too late in the session for me to hunt for, let's short it off the top. That's not my cup of tea. Someone was saying, buy PGY now. No, we can't. We can't hold overnight, by the way. So even if I was completely convinced PGY wasn't going to do that whole thing where it goes sideways and then goes up the day after and then sideways and goes up the day after, even if I thought that it was going to go up tomorrow, I still wouldn't be buying it here because I'd have to cover it in 13 minutes. It might actually hold VWAP. It shook me out. Eventually did get to VWAP on that last short. I'm just happy that I didn't get burned shorting it the entire way up. But this is still an upward trend, although I will leave it alone tomorrow and be thinking short based on the pattern that it's shown me. I got to get out of SIGA pretty quickly here. I've tightened the stop on Amazon, now at 115 even because imbalances come out in 3 minutes, and I like to have a trailing stop if I'm in position. SIGA might not give more than the 1720, so 60s to the 20s, not bad, but also not VWAP. This is also trending to the upside on SIGA. And I love when it shows the old trades because it's like if I like the long in the $15 range, and I even liked it up at 15.15 both times yesterday, 15.50, then the question becomes, why didn't I like the breakout long at the same price this morning at 15.50? You when in doubt, zoom out. Any significant price which was successful for you before, if you get a chance to play that on momentum, sometimes you just go right back to the obvious well, and I don't really have much of an excuse for not being long SIGA at 15.50, 15.60. I liked it yesterday in the afternoon, but I didn't like it today when it was breaking out off support. Go figure. Those are the kind of mistakes you look to rectify. That's kind of what I do when I do my preparation. I'm showing you live. When I look at this chart, had I not pulled it up now, when I saw it in the morning or on the train, I'd be kicking myself over this and saying can't do that again.
All right, I always say, buy and not necessarily trade, but buy the best of breed. And I saw some of you guys talking about CrowdStrike. Brendan's looking for a little bit news. Doesn't seem like there's anything too major today, but this is also down that 8%. So I would change not my opinion. I want to buy both these names, but you could see here. Oh, come on. Don't tell me it's not going to load back further than October here. But right back here to 860, Palo Alto Networks, definitely the cream of the crop. So I would be picking up this on any weakness, not CrowdStrike. But what you got something now, Brendan?
There was a incident response report that they issued this morning in the pre-market that highlighted significant vulnerabilities. Up to 70% of the tests discovered some vulnerabilities for phishing attacks. So, I mean, obviously not great for Pan W here, but that's really it. Nothing else too major. But yeah, huge move down.
Well, hey, like I said, man, I mean, cybersecurity is going to be the talk of the town for a while. I mean, as long as we have Russia creating what they're doing here now, and just a little bit of like global unrest and distrust with some of the major nations in there. North Korea, obviously Russia as well, China, US, just to talk about it, that's what national security is all about. So,
corporations have to protect themselves.
Yeah, and government agencies. I mean, that's.
I don't want to go tinfoil hat, but we talked about the whole Canadian companies, getting smacked when they're the number one. There's an old story at Nortel that a lot of why they lost their competitive advantage was because of cyber theft. I don't want to get into it because you make the wrong enemy. It's just one of those, and you can probably guess who it may or may not have been. You can probably just look it up. I don't want to really talk too deep about it, but it's so important because that is a huge concern for large corporations, and that's definitely not going anywhere. I just want to point out that Amazon is at these lows of the day, so I tightened my trail, but I'm also going to pop on the bid right at the low in case we spike and get a spike down here on the imbalances, Brendan.
This was earlier, but worth a mention as we get back to day highs. I was trying to pull up the actual story here, but I'll show you the chart instead. Vizio, they make those smart TVs, I think, back to or trying to get back to day highs here. Comcast, guys, apparently kicking the tires on Vizio.
Ooh, Vizio, yeah. I don't know much about that company. We don't trade it too much, but maker of electronic products, I believe there. So Vizio,
here we go.
Here we go. Oh, yeah, here we go.
Snapchat, $2 million to sell. Uber, $1.8 million to sell. I see Ford, $1 million to buy. Twitter, $2.3 million to the buy side for Twitter. But mostly to the sell side, it looks like, especially Snapchat, under some pressure there, and Uber as well. I mean, Uber's a bit of a gong show. But Twitter's an interesting one that it caught a bit of a bit. Buy and balance, actually.
Yeah, no, very interesting, to be honest with you there for Twitter. So it doesn't look like any of our stocks are going to get squashed on that. It looks like a nice, what is the market? I mean, the market's flat. It did jump up there a little bit. I just trying to check out on AMD. AMD went to 85.20 again. Damn it. We should have had that bid there. So let's put it, the offer. Let's put it somewhere in the teens there. I mean, let's get out of a piece right now, actually. All right, there we go. So we'll hold on to a little piece now of AMD as we'll take another piece out right there at 85, just wrapping up our day on that one. We're going to be, money making today on Amazon, obviously. AMD, Amazon, Shopify, SNDL. So we're down very, very small on Walmart, which is crazy because this 122, it's right back to where it is now. We were short there during that dump, but we got out. Like it broke that 122, and for some strange reason, I'll never know why I did that, got out basically on the 22 break flat there. So that was a strange one. Should have definitely given that. Well, I mean, it went up to 122.26. So yeah, I might have, even if I was using 25, I might have got ticked out there, which I would have been even more upset about. So maybe it's okay in hindsight. And then that's going to be a negative stock for us as well. I might as well get out of this SNDL now, as it is a nice little winner from the short here in the morning. We initially had this 285. And again, when you're going to be this kind of a name and come out and do what they did, SNDL, and reverse split into a sector that has just been an absolute gong show, yeah, I am going to short you that very next day because more liquidity into a name like this, giving us that opportunity to hit it to the downside. Someone did come up with a very valid point though, and it was that options probably still not available on this. So I don't know when they'll become available.
Oh, that's another thing.
On SNDL, but yeah, that will create a bump up as people will buy some options, then you got to cover it, right?
Yeah, 2 points. We got that question. I did try to look into it on the train home, and I actually couldn't find the answer as to when options will be will come back for Sundial. So I'm not sure. But the other thing that got pointed out, and I agree with this, is that Sundial, like a lot of retail, couldn't trade it today. So like once that comes up in a couple of days, I feel like there might be another big day coming up in Sundial. And I think, it was a couple of people in the chat pointing that one out. So I don't want to take credit for it, but there was a discussion maybe an hour or so ago that we had in the chat. Yeah, I think Sundial might be better in a couple of days. And Zila was the other one, not in the cannabis space, but that had a reverse split, 20 in this, 1 to 20 in this case. Not much of a different outcome, although it's managed to hold the low. So in real terms, it held 8 cents, 8.5 cents today. But $1.65, $1.70 is where it's going to try to hold up there. Looks like SIGA, the last thing I'm in. I think I'll probably just get, like I actually have put my stop now to break even at this point. I'll probably pop on the bid here just in case there's one last flush. But obviously SIGA, one of the stronger names in the market, going to end up closing, it looks like, up 11% and at those highs. So not really much of a capitulation there, but it couldn't break the high of the day late. We'll have to punch out of Amazon at some point. If you're keeping track of something like a Tesla, I always go back to Tesla. I had one trade. I think I risked about $1 trying to, that's 785 that I like. I took like a buck trying to go long. And then what am I not willing to do when it fails that price range? It's like, this is where I like to long for support on Tesla. And I'm like, this is the key level. But what am I not doing? I'm not reversing on Tesla. I was just... And again, I was sitting in a bunch of other shorts, but that was ridiculous. It was the only real move that you wanted on Tesla was when it broke that level to the downside. I think that's what I'll be looking back towards, 780 to 785 for resistance in Tesla. Not very active on it today for me, but that's because I wasn't looking for the short. Probably should have been.
Not very healthy, but AMD put some hot dogs behind them and got a little bit elevated right here, up to that 85.20. So it's going to be a good one. Yeah, good little hot dog fire cannon off here for AMD as it's starting to motor to the high side again, and we still have the long. We did get out of a piece there when those imbalances came out, but we still have something on board now as it comes up to the high of this period anyways in the afternoon session. It looks like we're just taking that out right now as we are well above. Here goes the market. Like I said, man, it is anticipation time as we only have 5 minutes until all hell breaks loose in the markets because this is what people are waiting for, man. They're waiting for Google. They're waiting for all these names that come through. Mr. Softy to come through as well. Google down today, pretty good. Mr. Softy down today, pretty good as well. This was down 3%. It's battled back, as you can see. People buying this name, man. If you know what, like, this is what we're going to have to notice. It's a big rally here into the close. Do people know something, right? I mean, you never know what people know, what opinions are coming through. Is there something, not that anything's been leaked because that wouldn't be allowed because this market's not rigged. But I mean, all the way to the upside, a big spike here.
Both of them. It's not just Microsoft.
No, it's the whole market. I mean, AMD's ripping, but they're the ones leading the market, right? I mean, if people want to buy names, they got to go in there and buy them right now. Probably, buying options, buying calls like that, driving up the underlying. We saw that happen on AMC and GME and all those names. So it can happen on the big boys as well.
And it's easier for it to happen on Alphabet now that it's cheaper, right? Like it doesn't. It's just easier for the for options to get run. The cheaper the stock price, because look, that's one of the catalysts. The only two real catalysts for it is options and getting added to the Dow. I'm not even sure how big a catalyst that last one is.
No. Yeah, we're going to have to wait. Let's just see what these imbalances look like right now heading into the close. Snapchat, obviously, that big sell there. I mean, Snapchat is what it is. We didn't really trade that today. I don't know. We can have a quick look. That's why. I mean, not that that's why. Snapchat's been like this for a bit ever since their earnings. Twitter's still on that buy. None of these are pairing off. Uber's there as well. I mean, these are staying here. Like nobody wants to pair these off.
Usually
there's Amazon with. I might as well just get out of Amazon right now. Whatever. We'll finish Amazon off right now with a nice little $2 win. And again, a big day for me here on Amazon, as it is going to be, like I said, one of the top stocks here on the show. So we might as well just get out. How much time is left? 56, 57. All right. Amazon's levels. I mean, try to save a little bit of money, but we are at the 50 period. Maybe we get a little bit of a dip down. All right, let's just put a bid. Let's just put a bid at 84, 85, something like that. If we come back down, we'll get that here for Amazon. But it's been a nice little bounce back up here for the market. And why not? Let's just finish it off right now then. Okay, there we go. So we got our Amazon. We did not get our AMD. There's the Amazon out. Boom. Like I said, we got an 84 right there. And we are looking to get something out on AMD. But I guess we got to go a little bit lower on this one because there it is. So we'll take a 21 or 22 out there to finish our trade. Ball in right there, and hopefully Fahad can hit free throws right there. So
got some game,
we'll see what happens on that play as well. But AMD out, Amazon out to end the day at my highest spot. So we're, again, pretty happy with the performance here today, especially off those two bangers, Amazon and AMD.
Yeah, I got trailed at 15s on Amazon, but two things. One, I can't wait to get you on the gridiron, Fahad. But two, and I want to make sure I didn't see who it was that said this. I was asking about, or was mentioning mobile global esports. That's the IPO this week. Should be interesting. It's actually a smaller one, but I'm asking you. I don't know if it's tomorrow or Thursday, so I'll double check it myself. But if you happen to know and want to save me the 2 seconds to Google it, you might as well just throw it in the chat and help me out a little bit there. I'm just interested in the fact that Snapchat, Twitter, these are actually Uber. They're all staying, which is a bit weird. So I'm going to have Google up because, that's what we care about, but I'm expecting these to pair off at some point. It's not that normal that you'd see these bigger imbalances start to stick around here, even this late at 3:58. But the name to watch at 4 o'clock is going to be Google. I think everyone's going to be pretty interested to see if they can hold up after what was a disappointing report for Snapchat, which brought the entire sector down. Meta's had a horrible day today. Retail's been pretty bad, but now all we care about is the big boys.
That's pretty hilarious how fast Amazon just dropped there. Like, we just got out there at 84, and I was like, let's put an 84, see if we get it. It just cranked lower down there to 114.60. Wow. Tony's on the bell, and I don't know if he's excited for these earnings or not. Yeah, there's going to be some big stuff here. It's really nice to see Tony one more time there today, so that was great. Tony was also a bowler. I don't know what Tony's score was. Do you remember when you bowled there? 68, yeah, you remember, yeah, right there. Good guy, remembers that score. Also beating Fahad, I might note on that one. There on the 68. Has Tony ever bowled before? Wow, Fahad. Wow.
Sorry.
Tony goes once. So basically, Tony beat Fahad as well. So there you go. Off of never bowling before, basically beating Fahad. So, okay, right now with only 15 seconds left. Sorry about that, Fahad, but we had to ask him.
That was cold.
That was cold. That was cold. I didn't think it was going to be that cold. But right now with only 10 seconons left. I thought Tony was like, yeah, I played a few times.
Yeah.
He just goes once. So, yeah, maybe Fahad's confidence level 3.
Tony, 2.
2 and 1.
Wow, Fahad.
There we go. Yeah, wow. So I don't know. Like Fahad right now, doesn't look happy. I'll leave it at that. But no, he's.
But it's okay because he'll box Arun.
He's not rattled. He's not rattled.
Mess him. Well, I don't know what. I can't even say that with a straight face. He'll box Arun. He's gonna box Arun, guard me in football, and beat up Sean in pool. Just so everybody knows here. Just so everyone knows,
Softy's out already? Okay, we got to go over to Microsoft right now. Microsoft, yeah, there's the crank lowered it down to 244. Microsoft, there's the miss, but, let's wait to see what happens now. I don't have the numbers. Obviously, Brendan's over there. He'll get them to you ASAP, but there's Microsoft cranking a little bit lower. This is not a big move, man. This is 250 down to 246. Kind of expected when you get this. I remember we had one report. I forget who it was before. It was all the way down, then it came all the way back up and started to climb. So here's Microsoft right now, 248 and change. We got to cancel our script orders right now. There's 250. Microsoft, it's back. She's alive. Microsoft, as there it goes, ripping faces off now. Back up to the upside. Let's go, Softy. You know your boy owns that. And then Google, not out yet either, but bouncing around that 105. You could see the NASDAQ.
There's some fat fingers going on.
Yeah, the NASDAQ's starting to go back up. Maybe it is not out, Brendan. You have anything here on this?
Yeah, it's out, guys. It's a revenue miss, but everything else was in line so far for Microsoft. But revenue definitely missed expectations. 51.9 versus 52.45 for revenue.
All right. I think you like that.
Nice.
She's alive there, Neil. Yeah, you're welcome for that one. That was pretty funny too. But I don't know. We'll wait to see, man. I was only saying that because it seemed like it was left dead for dead down there at 244 and came back up. So yeah, it's going to be really super exciting. Brendan, do you want to go over the day quickly here?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just reading some more headlines here. Here we go, quickly, because this could change very quickly. 1.13 there for the S&P, the Dow, NASDAQ. I mean, you know the story. It's negative 2% almost for the NASDAQ at the end of the day. Keep an eye down here as well tomorrow, 10%, 5%, because, hey, the Fed is coming tomorrow, guys.
Yes, sir. And kudos to whoever has the stones to be sitting on the offer of Alphabet for like 2,000 lots and 10,000 lots at 105.25.
It's probably Fahad.
Godspeed is all I got to say. Like, I saw that happen on Qualcomm when they had their earnings, and it was like, it caused what was a normal move to be like $10, $15. I'm like, good for you if that actually works. Or maybe you think you can push it around, or you just get run over there, as that just came out as well.
Alphabet's not doing anything, but apparently it is out. This is the one that I'm hoping just rips, as this is the name that I'm long. Well, I'm long all these names, but it'd be nice to see if Google can start to go up to the upside. So there it is, up to 107. Yeah, let go. Let's go.
Hate to be
right
the guy
now
that
for
just
Google.
got filled at
She's
105.20.
alive again for Google. There it is. They're stacking the bid again. Look at this guy. Somebody is jacked up. They are just continuing to buy it.
Somebody just got loaded up at 105.50. They were on the offer like an idiot. Now they're out like $5. What a tool, man.
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, they could be long. We don't know where they could be long at 104,
Yeah, well,
and then who's the idiot at that point? But a nice little move to the upside there for Google, up to 109. There they are, man. They are buying this thing hand over fist right now. Buying Google. They're chasing this name up. You see there it is, the big ones again there. Luca going crazy over there. Too many spros going nuts over there. Microsoft back up to the upside. Nah, on that, as the earnings are just, it's like we could just do this show over and over and over again. We could just trade again and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, whoa, hello. A nice little move back down to the downside now. This is why I said, and why all of you know, you don't go into closing trades with a big amount of size here, because it's the post-market. This thing was just at 110, now back down to 107. Mr. Google, the French Google, running around here in the aftermarket. Brendan, some quick numbers, or do you want me to wrap this up?
So here, 121 versus 129 EPS for Alphabet, 69.7 versus 69.9. So it's a miss, but not a big one.
Take it.
Yeah, so a miss, but not a big one. So
Luca tried to punch it. He got part filled, so he didn't get his full default there. But I'm hoping it was long, somewhere near the bottom, not short near the bottom. He made money, so that's all that matters. Okay, good. So Spros on Luca tomorrow, but hey, we're back tomorrow at 8:30. Sleep well. I think we will. I mean, these moves aren't too crazy. Microsoft's a little worse than Google, but hey, we should have everything tomorrow. All the earnings, lots of names on the board. Just two that we covered for you right now. Watch Google trying to break back through that 110. It should be a good one. Just stay tuned. We're back tomorrow for everybody here at Trader TV Live. Thanks to everybody that helped us today in the back, everybody like that. But hey, we're running late. We'll talk to you tomorrow. See you at 8:30 from Trader TV Live.